What's going on, everybody? It is I, Culturedog Sam Hatch. Figured I'd stop on, hang out for a little bit online, unannounced, so sorry about that. I recognize that person. WTF indeed. Yeah, I just figured I'd hop on and just drop some info about the site and everything. Oh, Daisuke's online too. Hello, Daisuke. I just saw Daisuke Beppu dropped a video about scary movies, so I'm super excited to check that out because I'm a big fan of scary movies. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say about that. Check out his channel, Daisuke Beppu. And yeah, it's been a while. I lost my voice for a considerable amount of time, and I ganked my fingers. They're in better shape now, but I wasn't sure if I was going to play bass again and that sort of thing. But back up and running. And yeah, so it's been a while since I dropped a video. The last one was the Star Wars Technodisc video. And yeah, sorry, I don't have my proper microphone and all that stuff set up. I'm just kind of using the stuff on the laptop, so pardon the low quality there. Hey, what's going on? Zero there. Yeah, so I dropped that video about the Star Wars Technodisc thing, which is pretty funny because, well, all right, I'll tell you about the boogered fingers. But yeah, that video was funny because it was very, very specific about LaserDisc information and specifically about a certain release of the Star Wars, letterboxed edition. So it was like as far deep in the nerd hole as you can go, and then it hit the YouTube recommended videos algorithm, and I started getting so much traffic from people that it probably would have been smarter if I had released a general Star Wars on LaserDisc video or a definitive collection video. So I realize now I need to do that. So I'm actually working on a definitive collection. Where is it? I think it's behind me somewhere up there. Definitive collection box set video. And hey, Jim from Sweden, hello there. And yeah, all right, so yeah, I'm working on that video and a couple others I'll tell you about quickly. But yeah, the finger thing was nothing super exciting. I was actually at the studio working on my new album. It's about to drop in a couple months, hopefully. And it just got crushed in a garage door. So nothing too exciting. But it was just it just slipped and got caught in between two panels as they crushed together, and then took 3 of my fingers with them. And then I caught the door with my other hand and lifted it up, and then just went and got some food, and very calmly drove home, and then went to the hospital a couple days later. No fractures or anything like that, but yeah, it was pretty sensitive for a while there, and I didn't know if I was going to have like permanent nerve damage or anything. So good times. Yeah, so definitely need to do some more Star Wars on LaserDisc talk. And one other thing, Lucasfilm related, I just finally got, if you saw my last update video, I got the THX 1138 disc, which for the longest time I didn't even realize was letterboxed because Warner Brothers wasn't that great about letting you know that their things are letterboxed, especially in the early 90s. And so I finally got a copy of it from that Secret Santa thing I was involved with, and I watched it a couple times this week. It's really cool, so I'm going to drop a review of that. What else? I just got Into the Spider-Verse on Blu-ray, so I got to do that. I got some older... THX 1138 is where the whole thing started, though THX, like the home theater format, is technically also named after Tomlinson Holman, who was the gentleman that put together the whole THX like certification format and standard. Yes, and so they kind of used his initials. It was like the Tomlinson Holman experiment, and kind of backronymed it into THX. But Lucas was like totally in love with it. Like he used THX 1138. 4EB was his Electronic Labyrinth was his first short film. Then he did the feature film, and then in American Graffiti, THX 138 is a license plate, and he likes to throw it in just about everything. So I should do a video about the THX home kind of standard, and especially the LaserDisc one at some point, because it is pretty interesting. And there's a lot of information there. And yes, my nails will eventually fall off. Thank you. It's everybody who asks about the fingers, that's the first thing they say. Your nails are going to fall off. It's like you're all going to laugh at you about hand injuries. It's your nails are going to fall off. So I'm excited. But yeah, so anyways, I'll talk about the THX release since I finally watched that. And yeah, so I got into the Spider-Verse. I could do that. I'm watching the Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 Blu-ray right now. So that'll be coming out soon. And I got still a ton of Arrow stuff. Horror Express, which is super cool. Talk about that. Talk about the Waterworld 3-disc. And yeah, I might even finally upload some old videos that I've had in the can for a while. But yeah, the director's cut of THX 1138, I did see that in the cinemas, and it's one of those ones that people are kind of one way or the other on. I know a lot of people kind of chalk that up to the same amount of Lucasfilm revisionism that the Star Wars Special Editions are, and I really didn't think that the changes he added to the director's cut really hampered the film. Some of the effects were pretty cool and everything, and it didn't really crush the intent of the film or whatever, so I'm cool enough having the LaserDisc cut, and I'll grab the Blu-ray as well, because I know that's got the short film on there. I want to get that as well, so I'm cool having two different versions of it, and I can watch whichever one strikes my fancy at any given moment. But yeah, so look for those videos coming out soon. What else have I been doing with myself lately, other than redesigning this room I'm in, even though the Kallax behind me looks the same. But I got another 6 cube, and I filled that up with some vinyl and some LaserDiscs already. And I'll probably have some more this, when can I expect my 10 best worst movies of 2018? I don't know if I'm doing it. I don't know. My favorite movie of 2018 was Mandy. Mandy just crushed my brain, crushed my fingers. Just love it. Hereditary was probably second for me, but yeah, Mandy was just unstoppable. I know that's another kind of love it or hate it flick, but I absolutely love it. And I liked the other Panos Cosmatos stuff too. Beyond the Black Rainbow is style over substance, but I'm totally down with it. But yeah, so there you go. That's the top 10 is like Suspiria, Hereditary, Mandy, and throw in all your favorite Marvel movies in there or whatever. So that'll round it out. I'm going down to the archive this weekend. Vinegar Syndrome's store down in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and they have shelves and shelves of vinyl and LaserDiscs and all sorts of stuff. Awesome Blu-ray, so I'm probably going to go broke there this weekend. So look for an update. I'm hoping to get some good LDs when I'm down there. See what they have in the coffers there. But yeah, Suspiria, the remake. I know that's again another hit or miss one. I did get the Blu-ray. I should drop some thoughts on that at some point. I've been picking up some Blu-rays lately. One actually that I'd never seen that I finally got around to grabbing was the Scream Factory John Carpenter film, Someone's Watching Me. And damn, did I love that movie. It was just a TV movie. It came out shortly after Halloween. And it's not your typical John Carpenter thing. It doesn't have his music or anything. But, man, that thing really won me over. And what else did I pick up lately? I haven't been buying a lot of LDs just because this whole storage thing. I was waiting for that to kind of give me some more cubes to fill up. So maybe now I'll grab some more. And, of course, that didn't stop me from grabbing some vinyl at the same time. My big thing for a bit there was trying to hunt down the Metallica deluxe boxes, which is vinyl, DVDs, CDs, everything, for their first 4 albums. And the Kill 'Em All one went out of print. And I realized I'd been kind of sitting on the fence for that for so long. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get it one of these days. And then it suddenly flew up in price into the stratosphere. And I'm like, oh, I better find a copy. So I did finally find a copy, and I pulled the trigger on a few others. There was a good vinyl sale locally, so I got the Injustice for All one and the Kill 'Em All one for 20% off, and then got some good Amazon sales on the other ones. So I finally picked those suckers up, and then I was picking up just a lot of sale vinyl and things like that. So it's all 12 inches, baby. It all counts. So I'll do an update video of that stuff too. And yeah, so I've been watching. What else did I watch? Oh, I saw Lords of Chaos finally a couple weeks ago. Another hot button issue. If you haven't heard about it, it's the film that's based on partially the band Mayhem, a band from Norway that was progenitor. There's a little black metal scene, and then it does kind of transform into the tale of the black metal scene from the early 90s and the extracurricular activities that happen, church burnings, etc., and murders and whatnot. But Jonas Ackerlund, the guy who did the movie Spun, I know I am so controversial, aren't I? He put this movie together against the wishes of a lot of people in the scene and some of the survivors of it. And yeah, some of the actors weren't very Scandinavian at all. Though a lot of the kind of supporting cast were, but Emery Cohen and Rory Culkin were the two main leads. And Rory Culkin actually he kicked ass in it. So I'm gonna drop a video on that too. But I did see that in the theater. There was it was playing in 25 theaters nationwide, and for some reason my town was one of them. So I saw that about a month ago before I lost my voice, and I was going to drop a video of that, but that got postponed a little bit. And then I got it on digital too, so I ended up watching it again. So I'll talk about that. And I've been rereading all my black metal books and stuff because, of course, you can't watch that movie and not get excited to reread all the books about Mayhem's early years and Metallion's book about the whole scene and everything like that, if you're into black metal. And, of course, I saw Captain Marvel. Controversial again. I'm sure you guys probably saw it, and I'm sure everybody saw the Avengers Endgame trailer today 300 times and dissected it and figured out all the Easter eggs and nuggets of joy in there. Actually, yeah, I dug Captain Marvel a lot. It's 90s based, and it felt a lot like a 90s movie, too, except for the higher quality special effects. I was super excited to hear that Sam Jackson announced that he's a major LaserDisc fan. That's the one thing from the 90s he wished to come back, so hooray. Yeah, what else did I catch in theaters recently? How to Train Your Dragon Part 3, of course. I know you guys are waiting for my thoughts on that. But I'm going to be doing a couple radio things soon locally, too, on WNPR. I'm going to be on a roundtable about Us, Tyler Perry, Jordan Peele's new movie. I'm not doing any Tyler Perry movies. I'm going to talk about Us, and then I'm going to do the Game of Thrones big wrap-up. So that means I got to get some HBO for at least a month or two so I can finally start watching that. And what else? I know I was marathoning some stuff. Oh, Old Dark Shadows. And the 90s references. Yeah, they were a little on the nose, but not too crazy. There was a cool True Lies nod, and of course the Blockbuster stuff, and the music references were all 90s related, but yeah, it wasn't that over the top. But Ready Player One, yeah, that's one I watched it a few times since. I think I'm getting a little bit softer on it, but it was still a bit of a disappointment. But yeah, what else did I get video wise? Nothing too crazy. I know I got an Arrow video backlog, but what have you guys been watching? Anything exciting lately? I know Moikey's probably watching some amazing full moon LaserDiscs or something like that. Sadly, there's a new podcast in town I heard recently, and it's kind of an insult to injury because the Laser Discotheque podcast is, I won't say it's no more, but it's stalled out, so to speak. But I just saw, oh yeah, Moikey's been watching V. Nice. But yeah, I just saw the other day, there's a new LaserDisc podcast. I forgot the name of it. I think they're just covering like one movie per podcast. I think they were starting with Jaws, obviously, so I got to check that out. And then, so yeah, I think we'll take credit for that. But yeah, so Moikey said he was watching V. I have not seen that in ages. I did watch it when it first aired, the original series, and definitely wouldn't mind having it on LaserDisc, because that was, you know, cool stuff. You know, special effects and everything were, yeah, sweet for the time, especially for TV. You know, some lizard baby stuff. Oh man, thank you very much. I will keep talking. Man, yeah, shout out to Joey. But yeah, V was some classic stuff, man. Mark Singer, and can't get enough Michael Ironside. That dude was the man. I haven't seen Michael Ironside in a while. He's still alive, right? He's got to still be alive. The key to a good LaserDisc podcast is Sam Hatch. I don't know, man. There was this guy Moikey. He was pretty cool too. And that Sean guy. I don't know where he is. Hopefully he's out there. Maybe he'll catch this later. But yeah, I'd love to get it fired up. In case you hadn't seen some of the other videos, we were thinking about getting it fired up again with Nick LaValle, comedian and LaserDisc fan. If you haven't seen his Paul videos, check those out. He did a rap with a fictional character named Paul, who's really into LaserDiscs and thinks that the ladies will also be into watching LaserDiscs with him in his basement domain. And, oh, Aaron Johnson. What's going on, man? Untouchables. Terrific quotes. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, you can't. I just watched that not too long ago, too. I don't have it on LD. I should get that on LD. But I watched it in high def. And, yeah, killer stuff. Love the whole, of course, Battleship Potemkin, baby down the stairs bit. And all the killer Connery quotes and everything like that. And Billy Drago. Super awesome. Billy Drago, man. Here's another guy. Man, I watched, was it Vamp? Not too long ago. And he's just the man in that. And Briscoe County Jr. I used to love John Bly, his bad guy in that. And yeah, so yeah, what else? I picked up the Halloween Blu-ray. Again, going back to those controversial movies, those hot button movies. I grabbed that. I just got the 4K of nothing horror, but Ralph Breaks the Internet, so I got to watch that. And yeah, trying to just pick up things here and there. And yeah, Best Buy really hasn't been having any killer sales or anything like that. I did go through when Halloween came out. I watched the entire series again for the first time in a long time. Just kind of re-estimate them. So I should do a ratings video at some point. Shout out to Christian Hannah Horror. If you like Halloween and Friday the 13th, he's been dropping some cool videos lately, doing top 5 lists from the 80s through the 90s. And it's really cool stuff. And it's fun to drop in and see what everybody else thinks with the top horror films. Some of yours are really tough, just because there's so much competition. But animated LDs, I want to get there, really hard to get. Well, the hardest one that I want to get is the International Macross Plus. I think Volume 4. I've never actually seen one that's in a jacket. I think I saw somebody that has like a loose one. I don't know if it was a test pressing or whatever. But that one, but other than that, most of the ones I want to grab, I mean, I still would like to get the Cowboy Bebop box to house on my discs. That thing's a bit hard to find. But most of the other stuff is relatively, I'd love to get the Studio Ghibli box at some point. But, that still comes up on a fairly regular basis. I need to get my Space Adventure Cobra box that's missing disc 5. I need to replace that. And then, one of these points, I got to start getting on Zen Market and just buying stuff on there. I know I'm going to be competing with a few other people on the LDF and my buddy Peter. But there's some stuff I still need to pick up. I still don't have the Dirty Pair box set yet either. I heard some bad things about the video quality on it, but yeah, I want to get it. But yeah, I'm still digging all the 80s stuff. Red Letter Media did Suspiria review. I'll have to check that out. Nice. State of LaserDisc Connected. Yeah, it is on the rise, man. It is. it's really heating up. It's funny. I did the Technodisc video, and then Spencer DuckYouSucker did his Star Wars video, and then now I was just on eBay the other day, and it was like Star Wars Technodisc LaserDisc rare, $199, and I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. But yeah, it's heating up. The market is really bad where I am. I mean, there's some stores that have some media on the shelves and everything, but as far as like the Craigslist scene, yeah, it's tough. It's been pretty weak sauce lately. I haven't been getting any tips on any great lots or anything. What doesn't help having LaserTit driving across the country in his van, buying every big lot in the world. I know he hit a big one in Boston not too long ago. But yeah, I gotta get out there and get some. I think the last one I got was there was a guy that gave me probably 100 so discs, an older gentleman, for about $1, and that was pretty awesome. But that was well over a year ago now. So yeah, everything's heating up. I know the horror titles are still firing out on all thrusters, and we'll see how it goes. But favorite De Palma film. That's tough because there's the De Palma thriller thing. There's the straight out horror. I mean, Carrie's untouchable. Mission Impossible is pretty untouchable. And then even some of the Hitchcock rip stuff. Yeah, some of it, like, I never got into Obsession just because it was too much like Vertigo. But then Body Double, which is a little bit more Rear Window, is Blowout. Nice one. Good one. That's up there. But yeah, Body Double is a bit of a guilty pleasure. But yeah, but I don't know. It's tough, man. Mission Impossible. This is just a really good spy thriller, but it doesn't technically have that De Palma vibe. But yeah, and Untouchables is up there too. So, but I mean, yeah, Carrie and Mission Impossible are probably my two favorites, I guess. But I haven't seen some of his newer ones. I think the last one I saw in the theater was, oh yeah, Carlito's Way. Forgot that one too. Damn, yeah. The last one I saw in the theater was Black Dahlia, and it was weird. It was like 3 different movies rolled into one, and the tone of it was, the first half was pretty good, and then it kept getting stranger and crazier as it progressed. But Body Double's De Palma embracing the sleaze. Yeah, man, it's got sleaze. It's got, Frankie Goes to Hollywood on the soundtrack. Yeah, it's cool stuff. Yeah. What's my verdict on Michael Jackson, pedo or no? I have not seen Leaving Neverland, but yeah, from what I've heard, it doesn't surprise me. Though I'm not getting rid of my Off the Wall CD. Sorry, I'm still gonna jam my Off the Wall CD. So I mean, I still have no problem sleeping at night listening to my jams. Still the best Mission Impossible. Actually, yeah, everything post Mission Impossible 2. I've really enjoyed. I really dug Abrams 3, and then Ghost Protocol was again another really tight one. Rogue Nation, I don't think I enjoyed as much as Ghost Protocol, but Fallout just crushed it. Phantom of the Paradise, damn, I have not seen Phantom of the Paradise in a long time. That was one of those flicks that was always on TV back in late 70s, early 80s, and I need to get that on Blu-ray with the quickness. But yeah, Mission Impossible 3 is definitely underrated, and but 2 is, I love me some John Woo, but I was just talking about it recently. It's got a bit of a personal connection because it was the first movie on my first date with my wife, who of course wasn't my wife then. We went to go see that movie, so obviously showed I have great taste in action films. And so that's got a little bit of a personal connection, but it is my least favorite out of the 3. The John Woo-iness of it was just a little cheesy and kind of ham-fisted. I love the part where they spin their cars around and it looks super fake, and then they have to cut to the dancing scene to remind you like, this is like dancing but in a car. Like, really, you got to cut to The scene of that's so cheesy. But, yeah, whatever. Yeah, maybe I need to watch Rogue Nation again. That one might jump out at me a little bit more. But, yeah, no, man. Fallout was cool. Henry Cavill was wicked cool. I liked having the daughter of Max in there. I thought that was a cute little throwback. And, yeah, just cool characters, just tight plotting. And, again, yeah, just keeping you on the edge of your seat, even though you know, obviously he's going to save the day at the end. But they really made the stakes seem impossible, so to speak. Yeah, so I have been toying with the idea of doing a LaserDisc related book type thing. I'm still working on a kind of structure outline and everything like that. And yeah, one of the things I was thinking about was trying to get in touch with celebrities who were and or are LaserDisc fanatics, and try and get their word on it. Maybe their top fives or something like that, and do like a list or two of all LaserDisc references in pop culture. I keep hearing more and more LaserDisc references. Even local radio the other day, they were talking about LaserDisc. So it's coming back. The thing Moiku was asking about the state of collecting. It's funny, there was a period where like everybody was collecting. They wanted Star Wars, they wanted this, and it seems like the big thing now is everybody wants a laser active. That's all I hear about is laser actives, and that seems to be the new gateway. So there seems to be this new fresh wave of laser active noobs. So I don't know what kickstarted it or what's going on. I don't know how many working laser actives out there with good capacitors. So I don't know how big of a trend this is going to be. But, yeah, it's unfortunate that Tom Cruise will eventually die shooting those movies, Astro Chicken. Yeah, right? It's amazing he hasn't already. It's pretty impressive. And, that's his whole thing, is he comes up with these ridiculous things that, he trains for. I loved, like, when he said he just trains, learns how to fly helicopters just in case he needs it, halo jumps, whatever, yeah. I might need this someday. I should probably just, in my spare time, figure out how to do some halo jumps. Guy is nuts. But hopefully, yeah, they'll shoot that scene, last, and at least be able to cobble a full movie out of it. But, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do, if they do another one. But, yeah, I don't know. He's getting up there, though. How long can he keep that up for? We'll see. What do you think the reason is for certain films not to get a LaserDisc release? It's weird, because sometimes, obviously back in the day, just about everything that hit VHS that was fairly high profile, you'd think would have gotten a LaserDisc release. But there are those things that kind of slip through the cracks there. I know towards the end, there was like definitely a financial consideration when the late releases were coming out. I know they started really cheaping out with springing for the Dolby Digital money to get the 5.1 and actually pay for the licensing for it. So I know that was like, there was that like risk versus rewards towards the end that helped. But yeah, like you were saying, where the Buffalo roam never hit LD, which is so weird, because it was that wave of the early 80s stuff where that should have dropped in like a VHS version, but just the same master on LaserDisc. But that should have been something that would have been revisited in the 90s. That's why I was surprised THX 1138 was actually letterboxed, and I thought it was just one of those things that was the same like VHS transfer, and I didn't actually look at the back of it and realize that, oh no, like Warner Brothers actually visited this film and put it out in widescreen in 1991. But yeah, it's strange that there's so many films that didn't get released and then didn't make that like second wave, those golden era years during the 90s, and yeah, that's weird. Where the Buffalo Roam is another one I have not seen in quite some time. Volkswagen Gamer found Top Gun widescreen in 2001 Criterion at the local bookstore. Yeah, man, you never know where these things are going to be hiding. I found a small stash at a local record store, but it was mostly early 80s. My buddy had snaked out their Blade Runner copy, like the old Pan and Scan American one with that like gradient cover that's kind of like whitish on top and grayish black on the bottom, and it has that little circular stamp. So I missed out on that, but they had like, I don't know, a couple of, I think a Paul McCartney live one and a few other things, so I was psyched to find some, but didn't really pan out. But yeah, they're out there. Film nerd Jamie was talking about streaming video services and talking about the video game crash. Yeah, Netflix is hemorrhaging money, and now I heard Disney's gonna be, when they release their streaming service, they're gonna be doing this loss leader thing where they don't want to charge too much of it as a pretty much a Netflix and Prime killer, get everybody on board. So yeah, everyone's just hemorrhaging money, and Netflix is just they got too much damn content, and yeah, I don't even have enough time in my day to watch everything between Prime and Netflix, nonetheless Hulu. So yeah, there's going to be some sort of like market glut, and physical media is hitting this little interesting niche period. Even if I know everyone was freaking out about Samsung exiting the Blu-ray player market, but even if it was the death of UHD, which I don't think it will be, the Blu-ray niche market, the boutique companies are full throttle ahead. There's so many cool catalog titles that are getting released on a regular basis, and if everything did die and it was just like Arrow Video and Vinegar Syndrome and Severin and etc., Shout Factory, etc., doing films, I'd be fine with that if it was just this tiny little physical media niche. But yeah, so it's cool. It's still like everyone's pushing the 4K envelope, and it seems like we're actually getting better 4K releases and things that aren't just like crappy up conversions, etc. So yeah, I don't really see a death in sight. If it gets smaller, it gets smaller. Whatever. Yeah. And yeah, talking about ponying up the money. That's it. Yeah, LD was. I'm trying to think about the per. I remember I saw the per disc cost from like making LDs in the '90s, but yeah, it's cheap to pump out some VHS and everything like that. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what they cost in the early '80s. But yeah, someone just decided, it's really not important to have on LaserDisc, I guess. But yeah, it's funny. Film nerd Jamie was talking about the LD versus VHS thing, and that's one thing that is such a huge misconception. Is everybody remembers VHS hitting sell-through, and nobody remembers the point when they were $80, $100 a tape, and sell-through didn't even usually happen day and date with LaserDisc. So that was like the coolest thing. My go-to story is when The Crow came out, and I went to Suncoast Video. And I pre-ordered The Crow, and they're like $85 or $90. I'm like, what are you guys smoking? And they're like, yeah, it says right here. I'm like, no, that's a VHS. Give me the LaserDisc, baby. And the LaserDisc was like, I don't know, $29, $35, something like that. And I'm like, yeah. Oh. Cool guys driving next door. Yeah, it's nuts. Everybody talks about LaserDisc like every title was $100. Everybody uses box set prices for, when they say, well, LaserDiscs were $100, $150 a pop. It's like, what kind of crack are you smoking? You could roll into Suncoast on a Friday night and pick up, $3, 3 films for like $30 a pop. And it wasn't the cheapest thing ever, but wasn't any worse than what I'm about to drop on boutique Blu-rays at Vinegar Syndrome's archive store on Saturday. So, yeah, there was a whole period, and even like early 80s, yeah, VHS, ridiculously expensive if you actually wanted to buy it. And that carried on for a while. And I remember the big deal about, Batman coming out, the big deal about E.T. coming out, and Beverly Hills Cop. I remember getting that for Christmas in, 85, something like that. And it was like, whoa, I actually own a VHS. But yeah, people, Film nerd Jamie was saying people will play DVD and Blu-rays on Xbox and PlayStations, and yeah, an LD documentary. Yeah, I was talking about doing a LD book, and that kind of came out of the idea of doing a proper documentary, and really the only reason I kind of went at the book angle first is because it's a lot easier to do without a major cost investment and time. I would love to do a killer LD documentary. Just get a small team together, but obviously some travel is needed. At best, I got to hit at least California and hit a lot of Los Angeles sites. I did get in contact with David Paul Gregg's family from my LaserDisc Essentials video on here, they reached out and they said they had got tons of his, original files and everything like that. So I'd love to see that. Hunt down any surviving DiscoVision, people that were part of the design team. But then, even better, I'd want to go abroad and hit the Philips group. And actually, has anybody seen the documentary that's on? I know it's on Prime. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but it's about cassettes. And it's talking about the niche kind of market of cassettes making a comeback, like Cassette Store Day and stuff, like it's the next wave of vinyl for hipsters, etc. But it was really fascinating because they talked with one of the main designers of the compact cassette when it came out. And so yeah, something like that, LaserDisc related, would be killer. And they had lots of, like Henry Rollins, of course, talking about his favorite cassettes, and Ian Mackay, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, I'd love to do something like that. And then, of course, I'd have to go to Japan, the ground zero for Pioneer, etc. So it'd definitely be an investment, but that movie would rock. So I do have a title for it if I ever make one. If I ever get the dough slapped together or get some sort of Kickstarter or something like that, I do have a title for it and everything like that. And weird to think they waited until '88 to put E.T. on VHS. Yeah, man, E.T. was like such. You could finally own E.T. and everyone's like, wait, what is that movie? I think I remember that. I remember, like, back in the day, there was that whole thing of the Disney model of we're just gonna, if it's a big movie, we're just gonna release it in theaters again. And I saw Star Wars released over and over again, and Empire Strikes Back, and yeah, VHS really crushed that idea. But yeah, I remember E.T. having a couple, or at least one reissue that I saw in the theaters, and then you can own it. Amazing. The first E.T. box set I don't have on LaserDisc, but I think that's the one where the audio tracks were flip-flopped. So the stereo's reversed, so watch out for that one. But that signature collection E.T. from the late 90s is killer. And there's no reason to pay a lot of money for it. There were tons of them, and I remember Ken Cranes was shooting them out for like $10 or so, maybe even less at the end. So, does anybody know when Suncoast went out of business? I didn't want to have one in my area, but in the 5th grade, I wanted to one in Atlanta. Mine died in, I do believe it was, I want to say it was 2006. I'm trying to remember if that's right. It and Sam Goody, because they were the same, connected. They had the same membrane. They both died at the same time, and I was surprised that nobody was, because recently, like, Kmart went out of business around me, and a couple other brick and mortar stores, and usually what happens is everybody runs out when everything's on sale for 10% off, which is basically nothing, and they just clean the store out. So I was completely flabbergasted that Sam Goody and Suncoast continually had killer product on the shelves, all the way up until like 70% off. Nobody was buying Criterion DVDs. It was so crazy. I'd keep going back, like my next paycheck, and all the same Criterion DVDs were still there, and the price just kept getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So, I'm trying to remember if that was 2006 or not. I don't know why that's jumping in my head, but I think that's when they crashed. I miss Suncoast. That was my jam. I used to hit a couple of those back in the day. That and Saturday Matinee was my other mall store where they would have LaserDiscs. A CED documentary. I'm sure somebody is working on that. We'll get Sean to get involved in that. But yeah, the Alien Special Edition. Yeah, that was part of my gateway. Anime stuff was part of it, but seeing that over at my friend's house was just like this blow to my my brain. I just like realized I need to have this. I was like, I could make a copy of it on VHS, but I need to have the real deal. But I do not like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. Getting caught in the rain, brave man does like the feel of nature on his back, but a smart man has enough sense to get in out of the rain. So, but maybe like a Dr. Pepper under a veranda. Speaking of soda, shout outs to my boys Maison Otaku. Their channel was ghosted for so long, and all of a sudden they just posted a little teaser the other day that they're coming back, and they're up and running again. So super excited to see some more videos from those gentlemen. And the one in Roseville closed in 2007. So yeah, all right, I was in the right kind of ballpark. Feels like E.T.'s place in pop culture has really created over the years. Yeah, man, the 2002 SE. It's weird because when that movie came out, like, talk about zeitgeist. Of course, I got crap on my Thing Blu-ray review because I didn't see the Thing in theaters. Came out around the same time as E.T. And of course, I was a kid, so I didn't see the Thing until it hit home video. But yeah, I saw E.T. I saw a preview of it. I had been back in the day. Here on the East Coast, they didn't do as many, like, kind of sneak previews like I know in LA. There's always the test screenings and stuff like that. But they would do these random screenings that would always be a double feature. And I saw Beetlejuice that way. I saw Gremlins that way. And I saw E.T. that way. But back then, it was like sometimes a month in advance. And yeah, E.T. I saw well in advance of the film, but the funny thing is they would just play with whatever was playing in the theater. So that one was a double feature with Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, and Gremlins I saw with Police Academy. Oh yeah, Lady Hawk I saw a preview of, that came with Police Academy 2, and then Beetlejuice had Police Academy 5, I think, the one where they were in Miami. So I never paid for any more Police Academy movies, but yeah, I saw E.T. and man, it just blew my mind. It blew everybody's mind, and yeah, there's the zeitgeist, man. It just exploded, but it didn't maintain. It's funny, maybe because it's just so sentimental or something like that. Whereas, Star Wars had this big hit. The series died in the 80s, and then all the kids like my age that eventually grew up and went to college, like, all started to kind of talk to one another, and it just exploded again. So yeah, E.T. is just, it's weird. It's this. I know kids that don't like it. Like a new generation showing it to them. They're like, "Yeah, that's freaky. I'm not really down for that." But how many LaserDiscs do I own? I haven't looked at the LDDB listing in a while. I'm guessing probably 1,000 something at this point, maybe something like that. I mean, I've got this Kallax behind me. And I got all the box sets above, and then I got my new cube. I got, at least a shelf in there, and a few others that need to get stored, but it's got to be around 1,000. I try to keep it cold and, take out stuff that I don't really, really like, or I'm not going to watch that often, so just for space issues. I mean, if I had, infinite space, I'd probably just keep getting it no matter what it is. But yeah, I'll have to check the official listing. I do log them all on the LDDB. So if you're a LaserDisc collector, if you're new to it, definitely check out that website, LaserDisc database. They got just about everything in there. It's a great place for tracking your stuff. What else? Yeah, a lot of people my age think practical effects puppets like E.T. are weird. Yeah, he does look like a little bit of a shriveled dong. He's a little funky looking. And plus, some of it's like terrifying too. Like some of the stuff with Peter Coyote and his flashlight gang running through the woods, and Elliot encountering him for the first time. Like, stuff's pretty spooky. And it did teach me the word penis breath. I don't know if that's a word. It's a conjunction, but whatever. Subliminal Vibes. You have great taste in movies. Thank you, sir. What's on your wish list for LDs? Still some. I got some of my wish list ones for Christmas, which was pretty cool. Reflecting Skin was on there. Curdled was on mine for a while. I got the Japanese one. I still wouldn't mind getting the Miramax one. I still need a decent amount of Criterions. Like, I don't have the Criterion Fisher King for some reason. Nor some of the other Terry Gilliam. I was just watching some info about The Man Who Killed Don Quixote finally coming out. But yeah, I don't have Baron Munchausen, and I need to get. There was a couple other Criterions I wanted to grab. Horror stuff, I'd love to get more Roan Group things. Yeah, I'd love to get more of the Bava stuff and some more Argento things, but price notwithstanding, it depends. We'll see. We'll see what comes on the horizon. And yeah, I do still have to get a couple more James Bond films, believe it or not. As a fellow Bond film, what screen test of rejected Bonds would you love to see the most? The Tom Selleck stuff is pretty. Just the idea of Tom Selleck as Bond is pretty crazy. I've seen like pieces of Sam Neill, which is pretty cool. I like the idea of Sam Neill as Bond. I'd like to see some of that. Oh, dude, Fear and Loathing. I don't own Fear and Loathing on LD. I've got the DVD Criterion set, which is amazing, and I would love to have that on LaserDisc as well. But also Bond, I'd love to see. I know freaking Timothy Dalton was in the running in the 70s, but I don't know if they did a proper screen test for him around Diamonds Are Forever era. But I'd love to see like a younger Dalton screen test. That would be killer stuff. But yeah, yeah, I'm still intrigued as to who's going to be the next Bond. But most of that prognostication ends up being a whole amount of nothing. I know everyone's talking about Idris Elba, but before Daniel Craig got picked, there was like 5 guys that everybody was taking bets and talking about the percentages of if they were going to be Bond, and none of those guys were picked, and Daniel Craig wasn't even on, the betting radar, so usually all the talk is, it's a bunch of nothing. But we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Excited to see the next film, though I am worried what they're going to do. I've been hearing some, Burt Reynolds. Yeah, Burt Reynolds. Man, for those movies they made, like, in the early 80s, those Tom Mankiewicz, Guy Hamilton flicks, like, Burt Reynolds might as well have been Bond in those flicks. Like, Diamonds Are Forever, tearing around in that Mustang. Or doing they would have had to have killed the AMC cars, a Man with the Golden Gun, though. But, put him in the Trans Am, doing that barrel jump in Thailand. That'd be killer. Yeah, right, Clive Owen. Yeah, everyone's like, it's gonna be Clive Owen, absolutely, because Croupier and a couple other films he was in, and that turned into a whole mountain of nothing. And yeah, because he was pretty spy-esque in the first Bourne film, etc. But yeah, that stuff usually is a whole load of hogwash. But I've been hearing the whole back and forth about Danny Boyle wanted to kill the newest incarnation of Bond in the film, but then somebody else was saying that it was Barbara Broccoli wanted to kill him. So I hope they don't decide that they need to kill the character on screen and then do some sort of reboot. Like, just recast him in the next movie. I'm totally fine with that. I can live with the idea. They've done it before. They've had the cute little throwbacks to the previous movies with the transition, like when George Lazenby was in his office and kind of looking at the gadgets from Connery's films. There's a little just something simple like that. We'll see. But I'm hoping they don't screw it up. I've been hearing Rami Malek's possibly signing up for a villainous role, and obviously Léa Seydoux is coming back, and probably Blofeld as well. I know there was a lot of Shatterhand discussion, which is pretty cool, because I actually really liked You Only Live Twice, the novel, and the whole idea of the Suicide Forest and everything like that. It'd be cool to see a new Bond film take place in Japan and really get into it. But I guess Barbara Broccoli signed something, Shatterhand, it's not the name of the movie or something like that. Could still be misdirection or something like that. But I always dig when the titles come from Fleming. So, everyone crapped on Quantum of Solace as a title, but I thought it was cool. But, they're running out of things like Risiko and the Hildebrand rarity. I thought that was pretty cool. They had a reference to that in the last film as well. But I heard Eon was planning on pulling a Lucas after this and calling it a day. That would be a trip if they just killed the character. Everyone's expecting Léa Seydoux' character to die, but that'd be a trip if Blofeld just offs her and Bond. That's it. James Bond will not be back, and credits. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping they'll keep doing some more. But yeah, it'd be cool if they could find a way to pump them out a little bit faster, even if they were lower budget or something like that. But give some new scrappy directors a chance at them. But I know everything's so careful about what they do and don't do now. But we'll see. But yeah, Fear and Loathing. I gotta watch Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas again. That flick is one of those ones. It's almost like better when you watch it in two parts. It has this like kind of almost like demarcation line. As I know people that just get put off by the size and length of it all. Giggity. But if you watch it in two parts, it's pretty good. But selling off the IP, yeah, James Bond, yeah, they could. That'd be interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure someone will snap it up in a hot minute, but I'm sure somebody would do some really stupid things with it too. Henry Cavill as Bond, he really crushed it in Fallout. I could see him doing it. But Pete, 1972, what's going on, man? Welcome aboard. Yeah, for everybody who just kind of joining in, this wasn't planned. I didn't promote it, sorry, but I just want to get more live streams going. Yeah, pop on once a week or something and just talk trash. See what's shaking, see what you guys are watching. Letting you know what I'm up to on my end. So, thought it'd be fun just to get some content out there. And shout out to Peter. Yeah, man, Peter has been getting, Peter Biancardi has been getting some cool Muse discs, Muse players lately. He's been getting Sony, he got a Panasonic rebrand of a Sony and some of the different Sony players. Because he's been getting them for like $10 or something ridiculous from Japan, and then paying probably like 100, 150 to get them shipped over here. So I actually borrowed Peter's James sideline. I like Daniel Craig as Bond. Too bad they haven't made an actual James Bond movie one. But yeah, that was one of my complaints going through. Is that like after Casino Royale, they had to like wrap up some loose ends, and I still think Quantum of Solace is the most James Bond film out of his. It's the closest to a mission movie. There's still some loose ends that need to be wrapped up, and I'm like, all right, cool, that's all wrapped up. The next movie will just be a straight up James Bond mission movie, and they're like, nah, we need to reboot it and take it back to the Stone Age and all that stuff. I'm like, this movie's already been rebooted. The series is ready to go. We're ready for a mission. And then they're like, no. And then they had to keep doing it again with Spectre. It's like everything's got MI6 in upheaval. And how about a movie where M is actually in his office the whole time? But I would be down with that. But anyways, back to Peter. I borrowed his, of course Moikey likes GoldenEye. That's your favorite movie? Because that's the only one you've watched. Or maybe you've watched more than one. Maybe. But I borrowed Peter's Colorimeter not too long ago. And took a shot at messing with that. It was definitely a steep learning curve. You had the Calman software. And but yeah, he was cool enough to ship all that, including like the laptop with it, and fired it up and got some gamma levels straightened out on my projector. Sadly, he's got a Lumagen processor, which has this like auto cal feature, so you just like let it rip and it just runs through all the signals and calibrates your stuff for you. But it was cool giving it a shot. I'd rather have somebody that knows what they're doing just come to my house and do it. But yeah, maybe next time I'll pay somebody. But it was cool and helped me kind of tweak out some things and fine tune my visuals. But yeah, he's going crazy in the Muse land. But yeah, colorimeters they're pretty pricey, but he's basically it's like a glorified camera basically, but you put it on a tripod and put it right in front of your screen, and then when you run the test signals and the color bars, etc., it takes readings of your screen, and then feeds it to this laptop, and then you can change it and fine tune it. So yeah, Peter's the man. What else we got going on here? Wanted to ask, how does Independence Day sound in AC3 on LaserDisc? Yeah, I have not heard the Blu-ray or the 4K, but and the DTS LaserDisc I do not have, but the AC3 track is crushing. It's been a while since I've listened to it on my system. I think the last time I watched the movie was in stereo at work, so yeah, that was pretty underwhelming. But I do remember it being pretty badass with some nice split surrounds. It's funny how some of those older AC3 tracks are a little underwhelming, but they just sound good. But they didn't really always go nuts with the split discrete surrounds and everything. Like I was talking about Species not too long ago, and that's one of those ones where there's a few helicopter flybys, etc., but nothing too amazing. But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting the DTS of Independence Day, and I still don't have the box set from Japan that my buddy Paul was just showing off on LDF. Excuse me, I got a cough. Sorry, nurse. Monkey is hungry. You should eat some food. Go for it. Get a burger or something. Casino Royale, best Bond movie. Yeah, man. It is in my... That, Goldfinger, and Honor Majesty's Secret Service are my top 3. It is killer. Oh, unless you're talking about the 67 one, in which case that is not my favorite. That damn 67 Casino Royale. What's up, Cinema Raiders? James was saying M became too big of a character. And yeah, Judi Dench running around with a gun. Yeah, it's everything. Yeah, we'll just throw everything in upheaval, and Bond's world is topsy-turvy, and he's always like, it's like when he was kind of off the books and License to Kill. It's like, it's always like that. He's always rogue. It's like, I don't need rogue James Bond. I don't have another convention. Monkey was asking when my next convention's scheduled. I don't have anything scheduled right now, but I am available. So if anybody needs some convention appearances, I've got my LaserDisc White Ruled panel, which I fine-tuned a little bit. I got some killer AV material to go with it. So it's just sitting around gathering dust on my laptop. So, Rustin, what's going on, man? Cheers. So, yeah, I'm down. Have LaserDisc will travel. Do I ever turn off dynamic range compression on DVDs and Blu-rays? It may explain why LaserDisc often sounds better than DVD. Yeah, I don't mess with my I don't mess with my dynamic range settings on my receiver. Definitely want to keep as much oomph as possible, even if I have to ride the controls a little bit. But yeah, I think most of the time, well, in the case of DTS, there was a case of a lot of their LDs having hot surrounds, so they will sound a little bit more dynamic. There's some that are mixed like 3 decibels too hot, and then I think Jurassic Park is like a full 10 dB. So there's that, and there's just the whole near field mix versus theatrical mixes. I know they must have been making near field mixes for some of the AC3 LDs as well, but some of those other ones just have straight up 70mm mixes just dropped onto LaserDisc, so a little bit more dynamic and punchy and wall destroying. Volkswagen Gamer, Honor Majesty's Secret Service is my favorite. Excellent, respect. Definitely a lot of depth on there. What's my take on Ilya? Ilya's in Hong Kong. I just saw that on Facebook tonight. So, I don't know what he's up to over there. So, shout-outs to Ilya. Char Thang Dog found a Pioneer Laser Active at a thrift store a few years ago. What do you thought about the system? I was just talking about it earlier. I don't know if you heard, but that seems to be the new gateway into LD now. I haven't bought one yet because every time I see them, they're like $400. They don't have any of the packs. Pretty much from what I hear from enthusiasts is that it's a little bit of a weird mongrel, and so it's not exactly a satisfying system, and it's not really a satisfying LaserDisc player, but it's kind of cool to have just for the coolness factor. Player-wise, I want to say it's comparable to a CLD D502 or something. It came out around the same time. So, mediocre video quality. Not horrible, but, nothing to write home about. So, you've got like a S201 kind of grade player, and then you have to get all the packs, which are really expensive. It'd be cool to have them. But it's one of those things. I saw one at Retro World for, I think it was $400, and it didn't even have a pack and everything. So, if I can get one, for the right price, yeah, for sure, I'd give it a shot. But the actual the LD games on there, I hear they're pretty cheesy. I mean, I've seen the videos of the gameplay where it's just footage with sprites overlaid over it. Yeah, I hear that like nobody's clamoring for those things for gameplay. So, but anyway, it would be cool to have the packs for sure. But yeah, finding one at the thrift store is definitely a find. Film nerd Jamie wants to see an alternate reality where Lazenby wasn't a dumbass and did Diamonds Are Forever. Yes, I've got a book with a bunch of Bond photographs and stuff, and it's got some Lazenby photographs like from that like cusp period where it's like, oh man, he would be working, getting ready for Diamonds Are Forever now. And then would that be the same movie? Like, would they have gone for the same tone? Yeah, that would have been way cool. I think he would have been perfectly fine doing a couple more movies. Yeah, I would have been down with that. What do you think of the Toy Story CAV box set? I've got it. I love it. Yep. Oh, you saw it in the background. Obviously, I picked that up from a friend who had a used bookstore / everything. Got it pretty cheap, and it is pretty comprehensive. I mean, I did have the Ultimate Toy Box DVD too, which I also loved because I had that cool like clear slip cover and the nice silver box and everything like that. But that LD box was crushing for the amount of extras and stuff. It really kind of stepped up the game and was was prescient, give you a little bit of an inkling as to how DVD was going to be upping its game in terms of special features and everything. It's a crusher. Love it. Thoughts on Franken players? I personally love it. It's funny. I was just seeing there's that one gentleman on LaserDisc Forever that's doing Franken players. They're hit and miss for me. Some of them, it's kind of cool when they mix it up with the black players with the champagne color players. And I've seen a lot of like LDS9s mixed with some things, and yeah, I'm cool. I wouldn't mind having one. I would love to see more custom players though. I know Maxine did a custom player that's kind of like pink and like pastel blue and everything like that. And there was a guy on LDF that used to put cool like horror movie stickers on the player. I forget. There's got to be the cases are just big black shells for the most part. There's got to be a cool market for just customizing those suckers. Doing some custom artwork on them and everything. So I really thought that was going to break out a little bit more, especially as more people were just finding beater players that were their go-to, single-sided players. Who cares? Just decorate this sucker. What would happen to my LaserDiscs if I died? They would be sad, of course. Sorry for the cough. It's funny. The other day, my wife was telling me that I had 5 minutes before I had to go get laundry. And I just heard, you've got 5 minutes, or something. You got 5 minutes left. And I'm like, so much I wanted to do. Tell everyone I love them, and give my LaserDisc to the first person that asks. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Moiki will get my LaserDisc. Yeah, if I get a laser active, get a soldering iron, and replace all those capacitors. That's what I was saying. Yeah, finding one that's not already fixed and has good caps. Yeah, not easy. And I mean, I have been meaning to get into doing a little bit more soldering, etc. I wouldn't mind replacing some of the capacitors on some of my older decks when they go bad anyways, start leaking. So it would be good to have, but I don't necessarily want to cancel a couple of weekends and do that. Alright, what would I rather have? A LaserDisc of a movie I love and a badass box set with AC3, or the same movie in a single disc, lame release, but it has DTS? I can only choose one, and I choose the badass box set with AC3. In fact, there was that period in the late release-ish era where it was like there was the AC3 one that was already on the market, and then there was a signature collection version, and then a DTS version. And I always had that kind of like ennui of like, do I really want 3 versions of this? Like, I'm probably going to get like a couple double dips. Like I might want to get the Vertigo DTS just for the jacket art alone, but yo, what's going on, Studio 8H? But, yeah, I don't know. There was like 3 versions of everything. And I'm like, I'll take the big box set with the AC3. I'm cool with like my Pulp Fiction box set with AC3 or my 7 box set with AC3. DTS is cool and all, but, yeah. I do also appreciate that DTS was Kuru-Ray pressings a lot of times. So sometimes you would have non-rotters. and I do have a smattering of them, but AC3 is just the ultimate bargain. I mean, that might heat up now that LaserDisc is getting a little bit crazy again. People might start figuring out that late release AC3 discs can go for some dough, but we'll see. Pete was saying, finds it weird that critics would rate a Blu-ray track like 4.5 or 5 out of 5. The LaserDisc actually sounds better. That should be 2. That's funny thing. Yeah, there's no looking back. It's funny how even the IMDb used to have a special section for LaserDisc and all the information about it, and it's been jettisoned. So yeah, there's never a comparison, which is funny because Widescreen Review, I haven't read any of their stuff lately, but I know they used to compare. When they would do a DVD review, they would mention what it sounded like in comparison to the earlier LaserDisc pressing. But yeah, there's such a distance now that there's, usually somebody's just reviewing the Blu-ray for what they hear, and they're not really thinking back, or every once in a while you'll see some nice comparisons or something. But yeah, it's just always 4.5 or 5 no matter what. But Char Thang Dog got the Laser Active with the Sega pack, so that's good. Never really use it for movies, as you say. It doesn't have the best video quality. Yeah, it's mostly a cool little piece to have in the entertainment center, and do some gaming on every once in a while. Did you find a copy of the Godfather Epic yet? I do have the Godfather Epic. I got the American one, which has all 3 films, and that was one of my favorite lots I picked up. It was older gentleman had passed away, and his daughter or daughters were selling his collection, and I got my Sony MDP 800 from that, which is still one of my favorite players, even though it's a Sony. Don't tell anybody. And the Godfather box was in that, and I love that whole kind of filigree around the corners at the edges, and too bad it's not a widescreen. Yeah, though, I mean, I'm kind of cool with it, because I know it was like a television-based thing, so as its own entity, I'm kind of cool with that one being, and of course it's not like a super, it's not a scope movie anyway, so you're not losing out on too much. But I do have the AC3 Godfather box, of course, so I have them both. I love them. But Jaws Blu-ray looks great, but it's a tiny bit scrubbed. Oh, yeah, a little bit of DNR, huh? And Quint's monologue scene looks too bright. I don't care for the 7.1 mixes revisionism. The mono is lacking too. Yeah, I've got the original, well, not original. I don't have the DiscoVision LD, but I've got the older Universal one, which has the little bit of music changed on the beach scene, and then I've got the Signature Collection box, which I love, and then I do have the DTS DVD, which I still usually just watch either the Signature box LD or the DTS DVD. So one of these days I'll grab the Blu-ray. Do you think future hipsters will collect Blu-ray 4K DVD, or will they never have hipster appeal? I don't know, man. Some of these boutique things, man, I think they got some hipster appeal for sure. Especially the amount of cool, obscure things that are getting put out by all these boutique imprints. I think there's going to be, considering some of the horror titles on LD, how much they go for. I think there would definitely be an equivalent in Blu-ray for that. People will be clamoring for those things, and especially the things that go out of print. Some of the Arrow video stuff I get, like this, next thing I know, they're already out of print. So like the Reanimator and all that. There's then the Scream Factory's got a ton of stuff, like the Nightbreed box. I was hearing there's yet another Nightbreed Cabal cut coming out, like a 3-hour version or something like that. Where they were putting together new sources for it. So, or maybe it's 5 hours now. I didn't pick up that last separate Cabal Cut Blu-ray that they came out with, where it was only like a couple hundred pressed, and you could buy it through the Clive Barker website or whatever. I didn't pick that up, but I would definitely grab that. Pete's also down for box sets with AC3 instead of standard DTS. Yeah, I mean, I'm down for all those extras and everything like that. And those 5.1 AC3 tracks are usually pretty damn good. The DTS tracks don't kill that much more, where I would want to just give up everything else and pay more for it. Rustin's got a D702, so yeah, a couple of years before AC3 dropped. 703 is another good player too, but yeah, same thing. Just a little too early for AC3 without modding. And I know Benedictus was the guy in Germany that was selling the mods, the boards. I don't know if he's still in business doing that. I know there was a couple guys that have been talking about making some new custom boards and getting that going. I don't see why not. I think it's going to eventually be a thing where AC3 boards are going to be way easy to install, and pretty much every player's going to be installed. I want to get more people putting PCM digital outs and players that don't have it too, because that was always something that sucked them up. With like the D504 and D505, it had AC3, but it just had RCA jacks out. Subliminal Vibe says the whole 5.1 kit and caboodle. Would you agree PCM tracks are grossly underrated? Yeah, PCM tracks on LD slay. And a lot of the big AC3 titles I bought back before I had the demodulator and before I had a player that could handle it. So I was just rocking the PCM tracks, and those things crush. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Yeah, I'm totally cool with listening to those Prologic, matrixed tracks. You ever feel like the older you get, the more you want to offload your collection? Not really. No, I know Moiki has some moments, some crises, etc. Definitely not my collection, because the stuff I dig, I dig. I've said it before. My brain is kind of wired like Eric Cartman when he got his carnival, his amusement park, and then wouldn't let anybody else in. And everybody's like, "You're gonna get so bored in there by yourself," and then he'd keep riding the roller coaster, going, "Wee, yay!" So that's me. So the stuff I love, I perpetually love. So I don't really get tired of seeing it on my shelves. So if it's something I'm really down with, like my vinyl collection that I had from back in the day, I still love that stuff. The storage thing is an issue, but if I'm offloading things, I'm offloading them because it's not something I totally love, or there's a better version out there I wouldn't mind getting. But even in the case of it's a movie I really, really dig, I'll still keep, I'm not getting rid of my Evil Dead VHS and my multiple DVD copies and all that stuff. Like, yeah, it's just not happening. So, but some other movies, if I will get like an upgrade or something, I'll want to slim down my DVD copies or something like that. But yeah, I don't really feel the urge I just want to get better storage, really. So, but I do know some other people that have had that thing where they've got those floor to ceiling shelving for like their LPs, and then they get to that point where they're like, I'm never gonna listen to these before I die, and they just get like kind of depressed about it. And yeah, I've thought about that, like how many times technically I'm gonna watch this before I pass away, but it's really not about the quantity of times you see. It's just about the library itself and having access to things. And I'm not that I'm not planning on watching everything I own, because I am. And I like to pull out things that I don't necessarily want to watch sometimes. I want to watch something new and exciting. Or maybe I'll do like Cinema Cycle does and do a random generator and make me watch some things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with there being a library of cool things that I might not watch like 100 times. But yeah, I was just thinking about that too, about 80s movies. About how there was all these movies in the 80s that were like part and parcel of my like being, and then I realized I don't watch them on a regular basis like I did in the 80s. Like there's some like Legend and Lost Boys and Big Trouble in Little China that I do, but it seems like the list is kind of like there's been some attrition over the years, which is funny, because I was thinking, there's movies like I just watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I got the Steelbook, and I watched that, and I also got the Steelbook of not 80s, but Tucker and Dale versus Evil not too long ago too. I watched that. But I watched Bill and Ted's, and I was like, man, I forgot like how much I love this movie and how much I love the quotes in it. And I was like, I really should have been watching this on a regular basis since then. And but I mean, I loved Short Circuit back when it came out. But like, when's the last time I watched it? Probably with my niece like 10 years ago. So yeah, there is that. But do you ever feel like the older you get? No, I read that. Do you ever find a copy of the Hong Kong release of Moonraker? Let me see if I can dig it up. I got this guy. I don't know if you can see it, or if we're getting any glare, but I got this one. There is a Hong Kong series that somebody was selling the VCDs of that series, and one of the groups I'm in recently, they used pretty much the same artwork from the THX versions that came out here in the States, and then later that first wave of DVDs. But they released everything up until probably License to Kill in Hong Kong, and I need to find those. I've got maybe 3 or 4 of them, and so I got to reach out to a couple of people I know that specialize in Hong Kong and Thai and some Korean LaserDiscs, and see if I can grab some of that stuff. Which Blu-ray box sets do you think are as nice as the LD sets? I really like 70th anniversary of Gone with the Wind and the Red Velvet. I've got the Blu-ray, but I don't have the box for that yet. Some are killer. Like, I'm sad that I get well, I'm sad and I'm not sad. For storage reasons, I'm not sad that I get Aero screeners without all the bells and whistles in the boxes. But some of those Aero boxes are pretty gorgeous. I've seen, obviously the Hellraiser Scarlet box, unboxing videos and all that stuff. But that thing is pretty damn cool. I am a big fan of the Twin Peaks collection. I finally got Twin Peaks the 3rd season, or the television event, or whatever they call it. I finally got that. Amazon had it for like $30 or $29 not too long ago. So that finally rolled in. But the Complete Mystery box set, I love that. What else do I have that's like pretty kick-ass? I'm big fan of the Stranger Things boxes. Those are badass. It's tough, of course, comparing to an LD set, because the LD set has the girth that you just can't touch. But yeah, I gotta get that Gone with the Wind box for sure. Least favorite cover art layout from any publisher of LaserDisc. Yeah, when you talk about the image LaserDiscs, I wasn't a fan of the fact that they just dropped the VHS art over like a cheesy image of, not even an image of a LaserDisc, but like an artistic rendering of a LaserDisc. It's so crappy. I don't like Disco Vision either, because it looks like somebody's unzipping a shirt and there's just a tiny bit of movie poster cleavage, and the rest of it is just wasted on that gray that gray art. It's so useless. And what else? Some of those British PAL ones, there's that one company that has just the big blue graphic and then a picture of the VHS tape skewed in the corner. Those are the worst. I think there's a version of Legend that looks like that. But yeah, it's tough. Image, I give them a lot of crap, but yeah, I really don't like the Disco Vision. Sorry to say. If I could train 100 lasers for my collection for a single disc you're choosing, would you do it, and what would the one disc be? Probably not. I mean, I'm trying to think of it if there's anything one disc that I need. And I'm reluctant to sell. I actually sold my Squeeze anamorphic version of Unforgiven in my quest to fund my Metallica Deluxe box set quest. But, yeah, I eventually talked myself into it. And that was tough. That was just one disc. So if it's 100 LaserDiscs, I will definitely get rid of 100 LaserDiscs I'm not really that into. But out of this collection, I don't think there's 100 of them that I would trade for a single disc. And, for a while, the only single disc late release I wanted to get was The World Is Not Enough, and I got that. So I don't know what it could be. So I'm thinking the answer is no. Said there was 3 or 4 LEDs you thought sounded better than Blu-ray. I think the Blu-ray sounds at least better than 99% of the time. It's tough, because I don't actually have master audio running. In fact, that's one of the things I got to do is show some of the newer gear I got, because my room tours are wildly out of date. This room here, I mean, obviously my Calyx is still behind me, but I changed it up like crazy, and there used to be a big RP TV over there, and now there's a 4K TV right here. And I brought up my system that was from downstairs up here pretty much, and I got DefTech speakers and a new Rotel receiver, and well, not new, but new-ish. But there's that whole thing where I'm a Rotel junkie, and unfortunately, some of their newer AVRs and processors have had some issues. They don't always do the best at keeping up with the times. So when they do implement things, sometimes it's a little wonky. And so I've heard about some DTS bombs, the bomb bug where like DTS will all of a sudden turn to static, hitting some of their newer AVRs, and then the same thing where it has problems syncing up and there's like lag, etc. But I do have a new receiver that I love. But the one thing I want to do is get a... there's one period when they finally jumped into HDMI. I think it's the RSP1069. I want to get one of those because then I can finally rock proper multi-channel LPCM. So I'm sure that's going to be a game changer for me. Yeah. So a lot of the times I'm listening to core 5.1 tracks. Thoughts on the recent announcement from Samsung? They will no longer be making Blu-ray players. Yeah, it's funny because everyone's like, Samsung players are crap anyways. My UHD player is a Samsung, so I chose poorly. But yeah, I mean, there's still Sony, Panasonic, LG, whatever. Physical media, I was saying before, when it comes to the niche market, the cult movies, and everything that's going on from Criterion to just domestically in the States here, Severin, Vinegar Syndrome, of course, Arrow, Scream Factory, etc., etc., etc. Twilight Time. It's nuts. I mean, there's insane amount of product. I'll never have enough money to get everything I want. And then you get all the other stuff, like the 99 films, etc., from across the sea, and the Arrow video releases over there that aren't over here in the States. Blu-ray is just crazy right now. So, I mean, that doesn't seem like it's dying at all. If anything, it's getting bigger and bigger. I mean, maybe that bubble will burst at some point, but I think the niche, horror and cult movie fans aren't going anywhere. So I think they're still going to be picking those things up. The question is really whether streaming is going to take over for the mainstream stuff. So yeah, is 4K going to die out because nobody wants to get the new, movie that they would ordinarily rent or whatever like that. So it's up to the kind of niche, the fandom, to keep that angle of it alive, to go out and buy UHDs. But yeah, I do see a lot of people that are still buying UHDs like crazy. And again, streaming it's weird. Everyone wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And streaming is cool as a replacement for the rental market, but that's all I see. It's a replacement for rental and cable, etc. like that. It's not a replacement for a physical library. And there's just the concept of rights. I don't see rights becoming any less complicated in the near future. So stuff is always going to be going out of print, and nobody's going to have access to it. And the fact that everybody's ditching movies anyways. Netflix doesn't even want to get any of the Stars packages anymore for like movies. They just want to have their own crap. So there's really not going to be like a streaming outlet for half the stuff that is available on media, except for like maybe some new movies. But if the streaming companies are just gonna go bend over backwards making their own content, it's not really a replacement for what's coming out on disc. But yeah, there's a question as to what's going to happen with 4K, and if it's sustainable like the kind of cult Blu-ray movies are, if it's sustainable in a smaller market. But that said, I'm still picking it up in the meantime. Criterion launching their own streaming service as well. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I did have Hulu for a little while, and it was cool when Criterion was on there. Again, not a replacement for the extra content that's on Criterion. I'm sure Dice is probably not still here, but I'm sure he'll agree on the necessity of having some physical media Criterion. But I would be interested in seeing their streaming service for sure. And I don't want to get too many add-ons, but I'll probably crumble and get the Disney one too if it's cheap enough. So I mean, I am part of the streaming situation, but yeah, there's that whole thing where if you don't have the killer bandwidth, like you start streaming and sometimes it looks good right away, and sometimes like the first minute or so looks like ass, and it's just nothing but pixels, and then it looks good. It's like, when I want to watch a movie, I want to watch it, looking good pretty much out of the gate. So I wish Rhino would have released old MST3K episodes on LD like they did on VHS. Yeah, that whole kind of MST3K thing drop happened at the wrong time. That would be sick if there was big. Oh man, if I had The Day the Earth Froze on LD, like MST3K version, that would be killer. So I just have to settle for my MST3K the movie. Even though Blu-ray destroys LD in terms of picture and sound, I love 90s action movies in LD. Perfectly captures the era. Yeah, some of my reviews I mentioned that before. That's kind of what got me psyched about collecting LD again, was just specifically 90s movies and 90s action movies, and there's something about them. And the ones that I never got a chance to see in the theaters and to experience it. Like, I went in a time machine and went to Suncoast and picked up this movie that I never did pick up and watch it. And there's something really fun about watching a high-profile 90s movie for the first time now. Somebody was just posting the video. I just watched a review on YouTube today that was cool, Virtuosity, and I pretty much agreed with it wholeheartedly about how much I love that movie, and it's cheesy and over the top, but it was just, oh man, like that's a movie I want to watch on LaserDisc. I know it's out on Blu-ray, but I just want to watch it on LD. Criterion should release 4K discs. Yeah, that's the next question too. Is Arrow's doing so many releases that are based on 4K transfers, etc. So can they and Criterion get into the 4K game? I'm guessing it's inevitable, especially with them getting better and better scans of things. Like he says, explain David Sherman to me, please. I don't know if I can, but David Sherman is a gentleman that's on LaserDisc forever, who was really into smoking in videos, and then I guess stopped smoking, and then collected a ton of LaserDiscs, and then talking about getting older and getting out of the market, I guess sold all his LaserDiscs, and then said that he was going to quit, and then now is into Japanese rental discs, which are cool because they've got the kind of gold look to them. But then he seems to be collecting everything, so I don't know. Did that explain it? I don't know if it did. And he looks like Shrek sometimes. If you just picture him green when he makes that face, it looks like Shrek sometimes. So that's cool. Still waiting for Camera to release True Lies on Blu-ray. Yeah, I did see that Instagram post last weekend of the telecine, or the whatever modern version of a telecine engineering kind of operating table is, with the Abyss set up on it. So apparently it's gonna happen eventually. But yeah, every time I watch True Lies or the Abyss, I'm just watching them on LaserDisc, which is hilarious. There's still there's no 4K, let alone on Blu-ray. I had the Abyss, that like kind of clamshell, double clamshell DVD that came out when they first dropped that, and I think it had the same non-anamorphic transfer that the LaserDisc had, but I ended up selling that. And True Lies I never did pick up on DVD. So yeah, I've just got the American LaserDisc and the Japanese LaserDisc. But yeah, supposedly they're actually working on it. We'll see. I know Cameron's super busy with Avatar 3 through 1000 or 2 through 1000, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Very good question. With Criterion, we'll get into 4K, but they no longer release the DVD combo packs. We'll see. Yeah, I do like combo packs. It's cool. But I'm noticing, now some combo packs will only have the most recent or previous generation. So you'll probably have like 4K and Blu-ray and digital. But yeah, Criterion doesn't play with the digital, which is too bad. It'll be interesting if the boutiques companies will ever get around to adding digital copies with their stuff. Or I don't know if there's licensing would allow it. But yeah. Best decade for movies, in my opinion. Damn. Stuff. I was just thinking the other day about how 70s movies roll, especially 70s science fiction. 60s had some killer stuff too, but I just watched Rollerball again recently, which is one of my absolute favorite 70s sci-fi films, and then watching THX 1138 again. Something about 70s sci-fi that just crushes my balls, man. It's just spot on. Then again, I was a 80s guy, so I do have an affinity for 80s movies, and I kind of came into my own as a cineast or whatever. I really kind of focused on film as something I was really into in the 90s. So the 90s will always have a little bit of a special place in my heart, just because that was the period when I started to go like 3 movies a day, and I was young. I had expendable income, and I found LaserDiscs. So, but the movies at the time, there was a lot of cheesy, action movies and stuff like that. But there was a lot of stuff that was a throwback to the vibe of the 70s. Frankenheimer dropped Ronin, and films like that. There was occasionally those moments where I'm like, man, this is cool. This has got a little bit of a 70s vibe to it. So, in some ways, it was the best of multiple, worlds. But yeah, it's almost like a tie for me between 90s and 70s. But problem with streaming is that they keep getting rid of the good movies, and you don't have control over the movies in your hands, and the HD is very compressed. Yeah, man, internet can go wrong too. Yeah, one time I wanted to watch. I didn't have Gattaca on LaserDisc yet, and I think I foolishly sold my DVD. I don't even think I had the Super Bit. I think I had the original Gattaca release, and with the intention of picking up in high def, but I never did. And I had someone over the house, my nephew actually, who had heard a lot about Gattaca, and I'm like, "This is cool, man. We're gonna watch Gattaca." And so yeah, gathered everybody together, watched it, and the streaming, something went funky. Either my router just started losing the plot towards the end, and it was like the finale of the movie, and it just kept dropping out and stuttering and buffering, and it like somebody just like unzipped and took a whiz on my night. It was like, I took it personal, man. So that stuff, yeah, nah, I don't like that. I mean, not to say you can't have a disc that's scratched or something go bad on you, but yeah, that really sucked. And I ended up just saying, fuck this, and threw the remote and just went up to bed and just gave up on it. Yeah, it's a bummer. But yeah, I'm a big fan of just having it, the option when I want to watch it, and I know that the quality is gonna be what it is. So it'd be great to get True Lies in the Abyss on Blu-ray 4K. It's crazy it's taken so long for it to happen. Yeah, I know, it's amazing the amount of promises we keep hearing from the Cameron camp, over the years. And I know they probably want to release it, but anytime somebody's doing some sort of Q&A out in California or something, I was like, oh yeah, it's coming. And then they need to go back and probably fix some other Cameron stuff too. I haven't picked up the T2 4K that I know everybody despises. So, what kind of car do I drive? Still the same. My wife drives a newer Sonata, but I just drive the same old Cobalt that I drove to Moiki's house to buy that CLD 99. I've had that thing since 2009, so yeah, it's 10 years old now, but it's still going. So I'm gonna drive it into the ground. And then, I don't know what I'll get after that. We'll see. Aston Martin, maybe. Maybe not. Nice fellow Rollerball level. Such a great movie. It's also the first R-rated movie I ever saw. Yeah, Rollerball just... it's just too cool. It's like, Jonathan E. is the coolest anti-hero. It's got so many great quotes and everything like that. In fact, my band, our first ever intro kind of tape thing was an audio collage I put together with quotes from, I think there was stuff from Altered States and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and it was one of those, what's the name of it? It's a shepherd tone. It's that endlessly ascending tone. They used it a lot. I think I stole a bit of it from Hans Zimmer's, the one note from The Dark Knight, and then I love shepherd tones where it just kind of sounds like it's perpetually ascending. So I had that, and then I had a bunch of Rollerball quotes and stuff, and then some of our songs we would have a break in between where I need to tune, and it had just spacey sounds and John Houseman going corporate society takes care of everyone. Yeah, I don't understand. It's great stuff, and the whole thing with Jonathan E. going and meaning the computer that lost the 13th century and stuff. Moon Pie is the coolest. I loved the 70s movies using modern architecture because it was starting to look really futuristic. So got away with using modern architecture.
There's the World of the Future, and it's just so badass too. Rollerball's the shiznit. What's going on? Machi Wumiabu. What's the worst type of lasers collector name? Can you describe that? Wiki's always asking the hot button questions. Worst type of collector. I don't know if there's like a worst type of collector, but we all kind of come from different angles. Like I was saying, I got the whole 90s thing, and then, of course, I always break that rule and go for it elsewhere. There's collecting angles I don't understand as much, like the people that want to, throw down tons of money on, like bad transfers and stuff like that. But I understand that they're not coming at LaserDisc from the same angle I am, so I kind of get it in the same aspect. I don't collect the same way. But yeah, there's so many different ways. But I just hate the people that are like really draconian about it. There's always these arguments on the LDF, like you can only watch LDs on CRT TVs, and you can only do this, and you can only do that. Yeah, so that's it. More like LD Nazis that tell you like there's only one way to enjoy them. And there was one guy too that was like, don't be that guy. Like it's okay if you have an LD if it's only a movie that's not on Blu-ray or DVD, but don't be that guy that watches a movie that on LaserDisc when it's available on something better. So those draconian collectors, man. But again, yeah, I mean, I don't get super psyched about dropping tons of money on things that are, I don't know, they don't seem that rare. And then, of course, there's the whole late release thing. There's the late release collector market is weird because not that I know our buddy Peter used to always get upset about people talking trash about people spending money on, like, there's the rarity factor. Those late releases are actually rare, so therefore they're worth money. But there's a weird kind of niche collectors secret society that don't like outsiders and aren't really about collecting the movies. They're just about collecting the discs so that they can impress the other tiny amount of people that are in that group. So I don't get it. Like, I just want to get a movie that I love, and that's it. Yeah. So I don't have a lot of late releases except for Fight Club and The World Is Not Enough, and I'll probably maybe get a few others over time. Like Peter wanted to get X-Men on LaserDisc, and I totally understand that. Why wouldn't you want to get X-Men on LaserDisc? But yeah, there was that weird cabal, that like group that, like, I don't know, sit around. I don't think they actually sit around in a room and have brandy and sniff their LaserDiscs, but it's close. Supposedly Craig will drive an electric Aston Martin in Bond 25. Yeah, that would be a trip. As long as it's an Aston Martin. I mean, not that I had a problem with the BMWs in the Brosnan area, except for the BMW in GoldenEye that he didn't actually do anything with, but drive down a beach and then throw the keys to Joe Don Baker. But yeah, it was nice seeing Aston Martins come back. So, but an electric one would be interesting. Yeah. Another long film overdue not on Blu-ray is The Beach. Moiki would agree with that. Speaking of buying late releases for extraordinary amounts of money, I recently found out super late and rare release and LD release in Japan. Cannot find much of it in terms of picture quality, though. I do believe Moiki said it looks great on LD. So, but yeah, I've not seen. It's funny. That's one of those kind of Danny Boyle things. You figure people would be celebrating all his fix like that, and was it A Life Less Ordinary? Like nobody really talks about those. And there's a few of his other movies that slip through the cracks. I freaking love Sunshine. That movie is so underrated. Sunshine is too cool. I know everyone hates the ending where it turns the corner and goes a little bit more horror, a little bit more Event Horizon, but sign me up. Super, super like kind of throwback sci-fi that all of a sudden turns into like a Hellraiser type thing. Yeah, man. I'm in. 20th anniversary next year, so perfect timing for release. Yeah, good point. Honestly, you should do live streams more often. Yes, I'm definitely going to do that because it takes me too long to edit, and it kind of sucks that there's not as much content. So it's easy for me to just kind of pop up here and talk about this stuff and do it like once a week, if that's cool with you guys. I spent over $100 for LaserDisc. I think I went crazy. Yeah, I haven't really done that too often.
can justify it in the fact that back when I collected in the 90s, single Japanese discs were about $80 by the time they came over here. So I paid $80 for Rush Exit Stage Left and for Captain Supermarket Army of Darkness. So if I did that then, I guess it's not too crazy to spend $100 or over $100 for a disc now. But I don't think I did that for Fight Club. I think that was under $100. And it's pretty rare. And then the fact that I get so many Japanese discs for next to nothing now, I figured it all kind of evens out. And I think I spent $50 on a sealed copy of The Keep. So for the most part, I really don't go out of control. I know I think I spent a bit on Cunning Stunts, the Metallica disc, but I think that was under 100 too. But I don't know. And there's the late releases kind of. The sky's the limit nowadays, but I mean, I've never spent like $300 on the disc. I mean, Wiki can tell me what that's like, but we'll see. Maybe someday I'll do it, but yeah. Maybe it was something that came with a lot of things, like getting those Metallica deluxe boxes with the LaserDisc, not the LaserDisc, the CDs and the DVDs and the vinyl. Those things weren't even that pricey, but they came with like days and days and days worth of stuff and books and stuff like that. Oh yeah, we got someone that actually paid $100 for the DTS Independence Day. So all right, I do know there were diehard DTS collectors. I know Steven from like the Worcester area, not too far from me, bought all of them and then sold them, and I think he's trying to buy them back now. Some of them are not easy to find, but yeah, it's the cost ratio. Those AC3 ones are just so cheap, and they sound great. Have you ever thought about getting the Criterion LaserDisc of Armageddon? Yeah, I actually hated that film. I saw it in the theaters, and I talked trash about it the entire time, and made fun of it, but I would absolutely buy the Criterion LaserDisc. Yeah, if I can find it. And I really snoozed on it. I should have bought it when I could, and now it's kind of hard to find. I didn't realize that it snuck into that late release category, but yeah, all right. I will definitely do some more SF Marine 0311. Says do some more live streaming. I will. But now the Armageddon DTS version, but missed out. Yeah, Criterion version is really good. Yeah, my one regret is I didn't capitalize on that late release period when I was getting DTS discs from Ken Crane, sometimes for like $6, and there was stuff like CD Japan was selling LaserDiscs, blowing them out. I got like Ed Wood and a few things. But I really should have capitalized on that and just went nuts. And then there was that period when everybody was getting out of LD, and there was a lot of good opportunities to get some lots from LD diehards that were shifting over to DVD. Oh well, you live and learn. But I would have bought late releases like a mofo. Watch both back-to-back. The digital soundtrack sounded a hair bit warmer, and the DTS soundtrack sounded a little bit clearer. Explosion sounded much better with DTS. Yeah, I mean, there's something about some of those low frequency oomph explosions on DTS. Jurassic Park on DTS is insane. Subharmonic frequencies that T-Rex roar will just, God, your neighbor's neighbor will be coming over to your house to yell at you. Why do people buy discs from Omar? I don't know. I mean, I can't say anything because I have not bought any discs from Omar, but I have heard tales that it may take a long time to receive them. But I guess he's also a touring musician, so yeah, the opportunity to sit down and box things up and send them out doesn't always happen. But whatever. Probably just because he's got some cool stuff, and people would, even if they think they won't get it right away, people will go that distance for the cool things. What did you ever think about the 5.1 mix on the DVD of Independence Day? I never got it. It's crazy. I've only watched Independence Day in the cinemas and on LaserDisc. It's one of those things. It's perpetually stuck in the 90s for me. So I never did check out the DVD mix. How did they become one of the most genuinely nice people I've ever seen on YouTube? Aw, what a guy. I don't know. YouTube in general, I just kind of gravitated towards people that are a little bit more just cool and down to earth and aren't talking about
oh my god, Captain Marvel ruined my life and all that stuff. There's a lot of negativity, and I know that you can cash in on the negativity for sure. But I would rather, talk with somebody like Daisuke and just kind of keep it low key and cool. And oh man, there's some of the channels out there that have been kind of kicking up. I mentioned Maison Otaku is coming back, but The Walk, Legend of Cherry Hill, another cool channel, and also very just cool and upbeat and positive about fandom. I got into being a fan because it was fun, and it was it didn't distress me. It didn't fill my life with trauma. I like being a fan. So yeah, Zara and Isaac also. I got into his positivity and just talking about the things you love as opposed to the things you hate. I still feel guilty for kind of like trash talking the Transformers movie, even though I liked it a lot and that Blu-ray, but like I don't like it as much as like my generation generally loves Transformers. So I still have people that like I kicked a puppy, and I thought I was pretty fair in that Blu-ray review, but I still feel bad that I talked as negative as I did about it, because I still get people like giving me a hard time about it. But yeah, YouTube is definitely toxic. But the other thing too is, like, I like engaging with people. Like, that's the thing. It might take me a little while, but I'll talk to everybody that leaves a comment. So if you like drop a comment that's like a turd on someone's lawn and move on, if that becomes the norm, like that becomes the norm. But I really like to just engage, and I met a lot of really, really cool people and had a lot of awesome conversations with people that have been watching my videos pretty much since the start. A lot of people too. So I haven't had a lot of problems with that. I think part of it was because I try and cultivate like a cool atmosphere, at least in my comments, and you can just talk to me or other people or whatever, and it's not just going to be a bunch of douchebags. So, Geeks and Gamers is awesome. Maybe negative, but it's honest and down to earth. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with someone giving an honest review, and every once in a while I'm going to get something in the mail that I'm like, yeah, it wasn't really my bag. And yeah, one of the YouTubers I watch regularly, he terrifies me, but I still watch him all the time, is Monster Movie App, Larry Talbot, which is a Gnome to Plume or Gnome to Video, but I'm sure he would hate me because I'm like everything he despises, but that guy he just pretty much hates everything I love, but I love watching his channel. He's just so angry. So yeah, I guess I can hang with the negativity if it's done in a certain way. Yeah. About 10 lasers when I went to Japan, my wife wasn't very happy when I had to load all the luggage with LaserDiscs as well. Life goes on. Yeah, there's definitely some pockets of good, and so much stuff that's listed as junk over there. People can't the hard offs, I think, weren't even taking giant piles of discs, and that there was the whole moment on LaserDisc Forever where one guy just dropped off boxes and boxes of commons down at like the dump and said, "I'm getting rid of it," and everyone was like, "Oh my god, I would have bought that." But there's that whole thing where like there's commons over there, which over here when they first dropped, they would have been like this cool $80 boutique kind of item, but nowadays they're actually commons, and is somebody going to want to pay the shipping to get all that stuff over here? So yeah, shipping's definitely an issue. Speaking of cool channels, I missed Cessna Ace's video. Cessna Ace is a legend, man. If you have never seen Cessna Ace, me and Stephen Vincent Furness, also another really good channel. We were big fans of his, and he just collected everything. He didn't really have a lot of late releases that I saw, but he just collected everything. He must have had all late releases too, but he pretty much had like all of the LaserDisc database, and then he just dropped off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened, but he also collected video games and other video formats and stuff, but he was just dropped tons of LaserDisc update videos, and he was like one of the first people I ran across that had intimate knowledge about all the different pressings and stuff like that, because back in the day, back in the 90s, like, you just went out and bought that movie on LaserDisc. Just like I kind of go out and buy whatever movie on 4K. I'm not even paying attention to the fact that there's possibly different manufacturers making them.
And Cessna's just had the knowledge about, DADC and PDO UK and Mitsubishi pressings of the Aliens box set being better than, I forgot who did the other ones that were, like maybe Pioneer. But yeah, I was like, what? I never thought to check mint marks before I ran across that guy. So yeah, super cool dude. I definitely miss his videos. There's a bunch of YouTubers that I got into when I started this that, kind of disappeared, which is too bad. And Zero and Isaac actually doesn't really get involved with LaserDisc, at all, but anymore. But there was a lot of LaserDisc kind of content, or smattering of it back in the day, and I love that stuff. Pretty new collecting the LD, enjoying the format, finding so many titles never released on Blu-ray and even DVD. Any advice when it comes to laser rot? Yeah, actually, I got to do that. I got to do more videos about. I don't know if it'll be the video LaserDisc Essential series. It probably will be, but I got to do that and do like a rot primer, because it's pretty easy to find alternate pressings for just about everything. Sometimes you have to turn to Japan, but I mean, if it's a case of something you already own, it's just it happened or it didn't. I mean, I've heard some people saying that they're having issues with some things, that they'll go to something like a year later and see that it's rotted. I haven't had that issue, and it might just be down to like control of humidity and climate. But I haven't had any problems with anything rotting on me now. I only had problems with things rotting on me in the 90s, shortly after I bought them. But if you're looking to get things that are, I would definitely get the rot list that's on the LaserDisc database. There's a list of the top 100 routers, and the one thing they don't do is they just list everything that's got a rot in disc, like say Air Force One, as avoid this at all costs because it's got so many reported listings of rot. But what they don't tell you is when they have alternate pressings. So Men in Black has Pioneer and DADC USA, and obviously the DADC USA ones are rotted. Pink Floyd's Pulse, Fifth Element. So I think Moiki finally got his rot-free copy of the Fifth Element. But yeah, different manufacturing plants would do different runs of and pressings of discs. So if you can arm yourself with that knowledge of what to look for, that goes a long way with looking for rot. Even sometimes on eBay, you could catch like somebody taking a picture of mint marks or something like that. Some titles even had Austrian pressings. There was DADC Austria, and even if you can't see the mint marks, if you ever run across sealed ones, they would have a Made in Austria sticker on the back. So it's like a Sony flick like The Net or Shawshank Redemption or something like that, and you see a sealed one on the back's got a Made in Austria sticker, you're good. But yeah, it takes a little bit of research, but there's definitely an alternative out there. And then things like Eraser, where there only was DADC USA pressings, there's always the Japanese one, which has 5.1 surround sound to boot, so might as well get it. So the two coolest types of disc to home video hippies are totally Japan LDs and DTS LDs. I bet the Japanese DTS LDs are only as grail. Yeah, there are some Japanese LDs, and some of them are harder to come by that are in DTS. I know, there's a Time Cop one, and there's a few others I've seen. I don't think I actually own any Japanese DTS LDs, but yeah, there is a little bit of exoticism at play. Like, people don't want to import Japanese discs, whether or not they're better sometimes, just because of the packaging and the artwork. The artwork sometimes is cooler. Sometimes it's just a photo montage. It's just different. A lot of times they use the UK poster art from the quads. Those are pretty cool. So it's just neat having a little bit of a different look to it. But I don't like that Japanese discs have always elephant condoms to store the discs in. But I do like the quality of the jackets. So it's just sort of more durable and thick, and yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, I'm a sucker for some Japanese discs too. But yeah, there's the whole thing where you got to collect Japanese rental discs just because they're gold or whatever. And I guess I can see it, but I'm not going to collect all of them. What's your favorite movie about making movies? Mine is American Movie, and damn, American Movie is up there. Mark Borchardt, man, that movie rocks. I was talking about Terry Gilliam earlier. Lost in La Mancha is great. That is awesome. I'm trying to think of what other, and there's even like kind of faux documentary ones, but Lost in La Mancha, American movie, I'm trying to think of something. There's got to be some like really obvious ones. Day for Night, it's pretty cool. Damn, I know there's like a really obvious one that I know I love that's going to jump on. Want to ask, how good is the Criterion LaserDisc Armageddon sound on the AC3? I don't have it yet, which is, I'm sad to say. I think Moikey's got it. Moikey, how does Armageddon sound in the AC3? I'm guessing it sounds pretty kick-ass. But I got to pick it up. Yeah, damn, I'm trying to think of other movies that are movies about making movies that are my favorites. I need to see my American movie again. Coven. Movie is so awesome. I binged on that when I got that DVD. I had to check out the commentary track immediately, and I just couldn't get enough of it. It just kicked my ass. Even if the people have the Blu-ray version, if they find the picture and sound to be much better, having a Japanese DTS LD puts a real sense of happiness to them. Yeah. Oh, dude, 4K cinemas here. 4K. I actually was checking out my players and everything. I got a 704 that I think is in pretty good shape. I got to do some testing. If you want to get in touch and get a CLDD 704, I can help you out. 4K is actually probably not too far from. You've been to the Archive in Bridgeport, Connecticut? I'm going down there on Saturday. It's Vinegar Syndrome's store, and it's amazing. And I'm going to go pour. But when you turn through Connecticut sometime, if you haven't been there, check it out. But, it's not too far from New York, so, yeah, check it out if you can. Mookie hasn't watched Armageddon yet. Damn. Well, I'm sure it sounds fine. I believe it will. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm glad some people are out here. I was worried about that. I was going to just do some live streaming, and there's going to be like 3 people. But, yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah, I'll try and, I don't know if it's going to be every Thursday. I'm going to try and do it every week. Wednesdays are good for me, too. So, it might end up being like more Wednesdays. But, we'll see. I want to, yeah. Well, we'll stick with Wednesday for now. We'll see if that works out. Because sometimes Thursdays I'll end up going out to the movies. Because they have the new releases, a day early. So, so 4K hasn't been to the Archives. But yeah, if anybody out there is in the New England area or tri-state area, definitely check out the Archive because they got multiple floors now too. So they got VHS tapes like crazy. They've got a wall that's dedicated to not only Vinegar Syndrome Blu-rays but other boutique imprints. So they've got like a Scream Factory wall, they got an Arrow wall, and like Severin movies and Synapse movies, everything. It's sick. And then they've got vinyl like crazy. So it's like, oh man, if you're into all that stuff, it's brutal. And then I think downstairs they've even got like discount CDs and all sorts of stuff like that. I want to do, they were talking about doing like a LaserDisc screening sometime. So I'm thinking about getting something that isn't out on Blu-ray, like The Keep or something like that, and doing like a LaserDisc night down there sometime. I got to talk to him when I go down and see what's going on. Pete was saying he checked out the 4K version of Dark Knight. It's fantastic. I'd love to get those. Looks so much better and captures the look I saw in the theaters. Blu-ray look digital. I got the DVD of Batman Begins with the comic book that was like the Best Buy exclusive, and then I've just got the Blu-rays of Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, and I should really get those 4K releases for sure. Just happened to look at YouTube. Really like your channel. It was helpful when I first got into Replicant X. Oh, thanks for tuning in. Glad to help out. I want to make some more LD content for sure. There's a lot of topics that I just never got around to covering because I was just kind of covering whatever I was watching at the moment or whatever. So like I mentioned, I never even talked about the Definitive Collection box set or like, ridiculously like LaserDisc 101 titles like the T2 box set, etc. So I got to do that. The Connecticut Place says, it's just called The Archive. It's in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Yeah. Check it out. They got a Facebook page. They got an Instagram, etc. So yeah. I'm trying to think of what their logo looks like. Do I still have their... I think I got their bag right here. They owe me some money. I'm shilling for the archive here. Here is their... Yeah, here's the bag. It's got their logo on it. So yeah, if you see that, just like search for the archive on like Facebook or Instagram or something, and check it out. If you're in New York area, Bridgeport's like a hop, skip, and the jump. They're open pretty much most days. I think they sometimes during the week they'll close around 6 or something like that, but they got good hours on the weekends. I want to check out because they're actually in the same building as where they have Vinegar Syndrome's store of 35mm films, and I was hanging out with those guys at Retro World Expo this year. My booth was directly across from 4K just said Apocalypse Now is coming out in August. I finally got the stupid Blu-ray with the 3 version. I don't know why it took me so long to buy that. So now that I finally got that, the 4K is coming out, of course. But yeah, my booth was directly across from the archives booth, and so the guys that work for Vinegar Syndrome and do all the scans and stuff did a panel. It was cool. It was really cool hearing them talk about the fact that they just have tons and tons of films and stuff they'd actually like to put out on Blu-ray, but they can't because either like nobody knows who has the rights or nobody actually has the rights, so they're just these orphan films. But yeah, this building is just filled with that stuff, so I'd really like to get the behind-the-scenes tour sometime. Maybe do something for the channel with those guys. Wouldn't the AC3 on the Criterion DVD armament again be the same to the Criterion? Yeah, I mean, they dropped around the same time, or same-ish time. I would imagine they probably just ported over the LaserDisc mix on that DVD. But I'd still buy the LD, though. Yeah, me too. Oh, Sam from Washington State. Love your channel. Thank you. Sam to Sam. Represent. What's your opinion on the recent Arrow Edition of Waterworld on Blu-ray? Serial at Midnight says there are 3 different versions. Yeah, I actually mentioned that's one of my upcoming reviews, but I'll talk about it a little bit now. Sneak preview. Yeah, it's got the theatrical cut, but then it's got like the TV version, and then it's got the, what do they call it, the Ass Blaster version or whatever. It's like the TV version, but with well, without the violence cut out or whatever like that. It looks gorgeous. Waterworld was one of those movies like I got caught up in the hype when it came out about it being a waste of time and a waste of money and all that stuff, and when everybody was talking, oh, Moikie's out. I should probably wind down soon too, but peace out, Moikie. Everyone was talking about how it cost over $200 million and was a waste of money and everything, and yeah, I got caught up in the hype, and my roommates wanted to go see it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll go see it, but only if you pay for it, and I wasn't a Kevin Costner fan on top of it, so I saw it, and I was underwhelmed. Mostly because, like, it was so expensive, but doing things on the water, it just eats your money. So, like, even though they built all this crazy stuff and they have the Exxon Valdez and everything, like, it doesn't look as expensive as it is. So, like, it just still looks cheap, even though it was not cheap at all. And just filming in Australia, it makes The Road Warrior look amazing. But, like, doing the same thing in the water with Waterworld just made it look, I don't know, kind of like lackluster, and the story was pretty lackluster too, but it's pretty 90s, and I was excited to revisit it, and the Blu-ray from Arrow is gorgeous. It almost looks three-dimensional at times. There were some of those shots just going over the water and the blues and everything like that. Like some of the shots, obviously the movie has like a kind of grimy brownish tone to it for some of the stuff, but when the colors kick in, man, it looked really impressive. So yeah, the documentary is awesome too, because everybody's pretty honest about it and how it started as a Mad Max ripoff. So yeah, I recommend if you're a fan of Waterworld, definitely pick out the Arrow, the Blu-ray. I got the 3-disc set as well. I'll be double dipping on Apocalypse Now 4K. Yeah, I had to get the one with the redo. Sometimes I prefer the theatrical cut over the redo, but I'd like to have them both. And then Hearts of Darkness, gotta have that. Oh, 4K's on the Bond kick the last 4 days. Love the ending of Thunderball. Yeah, I think I saw on Instagram you were posting some Thunderball stuff. That fight scene underwater is insane because it just keeps going. And I know some people like talk trash about it being like too slow because of the nature of fighting dudes underwater, but it is pretty crazy. And they tried to like kind of speed up the film every once in a while when it's savage. Just Bond's just swimming around cutting people's pipes and mashing them in the face and breaking their goggles. Yeah, love it. And I love the insanity of the Disco Volante when it's going like, yeah, they're speeding up the film and it's just going impossibly fast. Killer stuff. That explosion too, when it blows up, is nuts. They just packed that thing with way too much explosives and like nearly took out the whole island. Favorite Bruckheimer's 90s film, man. Probably Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide was pretty up there for me. Con Air, that's another guilty pleasure though. The Rock, yeah, I'll definitely watch it again any given moment. But there's it's nice seeing Sean Connery in there for sure. But there's some stuff in there that's kind of cheesy. But Con Air and Crimson Tide are up there. But Crimson Tide is just like a legit cool movie. Like, it doesn't have that whole over the top super cheese kind of Bruckheimer vibe. So yeah, I kind of like it for that. And it doesn't hurt having a little bit of bonus Quentin Tarantino action, even though it's like glaringly obvious when Quentin's behind the typewriter keys. But so Waterworld and Lasers for the first time in DTS sound. I would love that movie. I thought about the 3-disc Blu-ray version too. Yeah, I still don't own it on LaserDisc, and it was on my kind of like go-to list of 90s movies to get on LaserDisc. And then that Blu-ray rolled in. I'm like, what? Arrow's doing Waterworld? Like, one, that's amazing because like they're doing like big kind of ticket Universal projects. And then I watched it. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Pete also originally hated Armageddon as well. Still don't like the cheesy sacrifice from Bruce Willis, but I find it. But yeah, like part of it was like it was expecting you to be. It was like trying to pull your heartstrings and so manipulative. And I'm like, yeah, but like it's been nonstop cheese up until this point. So I'm supposed to like really be crying. And like yeah, some of my friends were like all weepy and stuff. Like towards the end, I'm like, I can't take it seriously enough to get all weepy about this character. And then. Oh man, everything in the control room, it was like they had the camera on a roller coaster. It was just flying around. Yeah, I don't know. It was just... I wanted to do like some sort of spoof or something of it. I love the opening on the oil rig. There's just... And I haven't seen it in a long time. So maybe my memory of it is faded and clouded and a little bit, kind of skewed. But I just remember the camera moving nonstop, and like it was like almost impossible to understand the plot, other than like Ben Affleck was sleeping with Liv Tyler and Bruce Willis was mad about it. But I swear there was no dialogue. It was just people just like just swinging past the camera, just making weird noises and screaming and running around the oil rig. It was just like some sort of weird troglodyte parade. I don't know. I need to watch it again. I miss Tower Records here in NYC. Oh man, I used to rock Tower in Boston. It was my old stomping grounds on Mass Ave and Newbury Street. That was my place. You saw Fred Norris from the Howard Stern show one day, racking up on the LDs there. My go-to spot for LDs back in the day. I love that. There's 2 YouTube videos from Tower Records in New York. That one guy, was that his name Ira or something? He used to do like a video, like a video magazine kind of thing. And there's videos of hanging out in Tower Records, and like they're talking about the new releases from maybe 1993 or something. Sick, love it. Oh man, yeah, Tower had some killer stuff. And they had like imports and things too, like Japanese imports, and you can find some stuff there. What is your all-time favorite audio track on LD, including PCM, DTS, and AC3? As stupid as it's going to sound, it's got to be DTS, Jurassic Park. I mean, even with the hot surrounds and everything, it's just such a beast. It's just so insane. And I used to love the old PCM track on the CAB box set, but that DTS disc is just redonkulous. True Lies is another one of my favorites, though, too. I don't know, something about True Lies always sticks with me. The low frequencies on that. What's your all-time favorite? Oh, yeah, that one I read. Arrow posted on their Facebook that Waterworld has been flying off the shelves, so get it now before it goes out of print. Yeah, man, they'll go out of print really quick. I hope that really opens the door for more kind of high profile releases. I mean, obviously they're going to keep doing the same killer boutique stuff, but 4K is taking off. Catch you later, buddy. And yeah, I'll look for some contact from you. We'll get you a player. But yeah, I'd love to see Arrow doing even more. Yeah, I know they had other Universal stuff before. The Thing, obviously, but it'd be cool. I love that Scream Factory can have some more obscure stuff, and then the bigger releases too occasionally. But I'd like to see both of those guys get more, especially Arrow, get more, blockbuster movies and doing stuff like that. Because Criterion might not go back and do more Bruckheimer-y kind of stuff. So I haven't seen Crimson Tide. Yeah, definitely recommend checking that out. I'd love to see some like alternate cuts of that or something like that. I wish there was like a good special edition of Crimson Tide, because I just have the LaserDisc, was pretty bare bones. I actually have the script of that, which I bought from this shop in Boston. I used to love buying scripts from. I got to do a video on my script collection someday. I know it's not exciting. And once the internet happened, everybody had like ASCII text, scripts, and sometimes there's somebody transcribing things. But I used to buy actual photocopies of the actual scripts illegally. Don't tell anybody. So that was one of them I had, was Crimson Tide. And it was funny. It was that first draft, and the first draft was very like heavy on the details and not very lighthearted at all. And Quentin and other people came in and punched it up and added all that stuff with the Silver Surfer and etc. So it definitely was a different movie. It was very, very technical. It was almost like kind of like going to be the master and commander of submarine movies. And obviously somebody thought the focus on all the details of the boat and what it is to be an XO and everything like that, I wasn't going to fly for a movie, so they had to spruce it up a little bit. But I'm sure there's some other stuff on the cutting room floor that didn't make it into there. Love to check that out sometime. But yeah, it's a really cool flick. I definitely recommend it. Here's a hard one. Favorite LD box set. Right now, it is my Macross 15th collection, which is funny because those things, you can get them really cheap. I paid $25 for that thing. But if I had wanted to get that back in the day, that would have been like $600 or something stupid like that. So that was one of those things like I lusted after. Like, I still don't have the Twin Peaks boxes from Japan, and I'll probably be able to get them reasonable. But like, I used to see those at Laser Craze in Boston, and they were hundreds of dollars, and I'd just be like, holy crap, that's like the goal, is to get one of those things. So yeah, that Macross box is currently my favorite. I got so many others that I love. Though, so I mean that could fluctuate at any given time. Yeah, I mean sometimes it's the Hellraiser box. Sometimes it's Criterion 7 box. But yeah, that is a hard one for sure. Speaking of Criterion, did you get anything to their flash sale last week? No, I didn't. I'm hoping they're going to do another Barnes & Noble sale. So I'm also psyched that Barnes & Noble's doing Arrow sales too. But I'm getting geared up. Usually they do the one in July into early August, and I bought a big pile of stuff there last year, and I'm gunning to complete my David Lynch and possibly collection, and possibly knock out some Kurosawa and get as much of that stuff as possible. And yeah, we'll see. How good is the AC3 of The Godfather? But I haven't actually listened to an AC3 proper. I think I've only listened to the PCM track, like watching on like my LDS1. I actually need to check it. I don't think it got high ratings in widescreen review when it dropped. I think they were saying it was wanting in fidelity or whatever they said. I don't think it was like a majorly aggressive remix or something. I need to do a sit down on the big screen and fire those up in AC3 and check them out. So yeah, that's on the list. Things to do. But yeah, Criterion, I want to grab. I got the Kozlovsky box sets. I got Decalogue and the Red, White, and Blue. I don't think I got Double Life of Veronique. I got to get that. But yeah, there's a small list of things I need to get
But I want to kind of complete my Lynch collection, and there's a few other things that are Cronenberg. I need to rock pretty much every other Cronenberg movie because they reissued so much good stuff that I had on DVD, not Criterion, like The Brood. I still don't have The Brood, and I sold my Videodrome like a fool because I thought I was going to upgrade it to Blu-ray. So I will be doing that, but I need to get that. So I'll wait. Is that Indiana Jones box set, the golden one? Yeah, that is actually that's the Japanese one, and it actually, I think the domestic U.S. ones actually look better picture quality wise, but it's a badass box set. I just love the look of it, and it's got bonus features on it. So yeah, it's definitely a recommended Japanese pickup if you can get one for a reasonable price. It's got that kind of like faux leather look, like a book look. Somebody was just posting they got the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles box set, which is that one's a little bit tougher to find. That would be good. I don't think it's complete, but that would be really cool to get. I used to like that show. I mean, it was a little bit of hokey at times where, Forrest Gump, like he always had to run into a famous person every episode. It's kind of like Murdoch Mysteries does that now, where Murdoch's always inventing something or running into some famous person. So they always kind of drop that in there. But I know Lucas was hot on it being super educational or something. And the whole kind of jumping between Sean Patrick Flannery as like teen Indy and like yippee, like little Anakin version of Indy, like that kind of grew tiresome quickly, and they realized like let's not do the little kid anymore. He's kind of annoying. But yeah, that was a fun show. I liked it. I want to get that box as well. I want to see Raiders in its original color and the snake reflection. Yeah, still that Paramount domestic U.S. Raiders release, ridiculously good looking. I do like the DVD box set that actually kind of looks similar to that. That's got that kind of brownish book look to it. I got that for Christmas in what was that, early 2000s, and that's still a pretty good looking release. So I haven't gotten the Blu-rays, but I did go see the IMAX like one week digital kind of restoration one in the theaters. But yeah, the original, the snake reflection for sure. Star Wars look the same as the one Lucas released as extra the DVD years back. Yeah, pretty much the definitive collection and the later CLV Faces releases, they call it, with the big picture of the Stormtrooper and Darth Vader and Yoda on it. Those are the same transfer master that they used for the, what year was that, 2006 DVDs, when they came out with the 2-disc DVDs and included the original versions as a second disc and non-anamorphic, unfortunately. But yeah, it's the same master, though the only thing they did was they added a couple things. They fixed the opening crawl to not say A New Hope, to make it look more accurate, even though it wasn't a new scan of an accurate print, but they did that. But yeah, so it's roughly the same. The only thing is the definitive collection has a decent amount of noise reduction. A lot of that's baked into it, but if you do have the DVD, it is a pretty good version of that master. You're not going to get a lot of better video quality out of grabbing the Faces or the definitive collection. But I do like the Faces. If you can get the reissued, they were actually cheaper. But Kure in Japan repressed the Faces releases, and towards the end, and those look pretty good. You still have the DNR and all that stuff, but nobody else talking. Where did everybody go? This is the Pete 1972 chat. Yeah, it is getting pretty late. I should probably hit the hay. I got one last day of work tomorrow. Well, not one last day. I'm not getting fired. I hope not. But did they cover the Indie Japanese box set in my series? It is. Yeah, I'll have to find when this actually posts. I'll post a link to the video with that in there, because I did show it. It was the same one when I got a bunch of cool box sets from Japan. The Planet of the Apes one, the Planet of the Apes box set
around the same time. And, yeah, DVD is not anamorphic puke. Yeah, I know. It was pretty weak sauce. There was that period when they're like, yeah, why bother? But yeah, there's actually the thumbnail for that video might actually have the leather Indiana Jones on the cover of the thumbnail. So it's definitely out there. I'll post a link to it in this video when it posts tomorrow, though, or later on. How does good Fight Club sound on AC3, the DVD? I don't know. I can't really say it's better. It does have the EX rear channel in it, but that DVD is smoking hot. I was a Fight Club super fan, and of course, yeah, I get the whole irony of being into collecting Fight Club things when, yeah, half the concept of Fight Club is the things you own end up owning you, but whatever. So I actually befriended the guy that worked for Fox and got me a copy of the DVD before it came out, because that was before I was actually doing reviewing proper. So he got me an early copy of it, and I watched that a lot. And yeah, I thought that DVD sounded pretty badass. So I'll have to watch the LaserDisc again and give it a kind of comparison. The only bummer about the LED is, well, not really a bummer, not like I need to see genitalia or anything like that, but there's a little bit of censorship because it was released in Japan, and you can't actually show genitalia in Japan without the optical fogging or whatever like that. So, like, you know, some of the joke action in there is kind of ruined. Yeah, I would think this chat will be, I think I set it up so it should list automatically after I'm done. So it should be up and available for other people. So hello, other people that are joining from tomorrow or whatever. I'm sure some people will be checking it out, like Australia should be getting up and running soon. And maybe tomorrow during work or something, some people will be checking it out. So yeah, I guess I'll wind up for tonight. I was just going to come on I didn't think anybody was going to really be up, so I was going to hang out for a little bit. And yeah, thanks again for a little bit of chat donation. That was above and beyond the Call of Duty. I was just going to be informal and hanging out. So I didn't think anybody was going to be on, so I thought it'd be on for like half an hour or so. But this is awesome. I like hanging out and chatting. So anything you guys want to talk about next week? Yeah. Throw it down, in the comments below or whatever, and I'll keep that in mind. Get a little bit of list of things to address next week too, if there's something we forgot to talk about. But so thanks for hanging out, everybody, and hopefully you have a badass end of the week and a killer weekend. And I'll be back soon. Cheers.